Hello everyone, welcome back to Who's Views and another walk down memory lane in our series about the wilderness years. What was that, Paul?
I was doing some research for next week.
I knew he was going to say that.
But this is actually a yearbook from 1995. I picked up thinking it was 93 and it's not, so it backfired on me, my gag anyway. But yeah, this is one of the lovely yearbooks that came out in the early 90s. Yeah, it's full of them, I think.
Your eyesight was better in 93.
It's got the right cover, yes. Madam, what year is this? Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Oh, it's good to see you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yes, this is another in our series about the original, I'm now going to start saying, wilderness years. As you can see, I'm with Paul and with Third Doctor Ian and I'm with Digby. And we are off, gentlemen, on a walk down memory lane. Who remembers 1993?
Just about.
Vague memory, yeah.
Yes,
depressingly, I've got good memories of 1973, so yeah, I'm in.
I was only 27.
1973 wasn't such a bad year, apart from the oil crisis.
It was a pretty good year, actually.
Yeah. Farsight was in the chat as we were coming on. He's still there. And he was saying that he remembers 1993. And I was thinking to myself as a reply to him, I don't really remember. It's the 90s, but we're going to get there, everybody, because a lot was happening in 1993, of course. Big year. And that is why 1993 for us as part of this series is coming in several parts. This is part one. Will we end on a cliffhanger? Yes, is the answer to that. So, yeah, here we go then. Walk down memory lane time, everybody, because if you remember, at the beginning of 1993, it had already settled into fandom, isn't it? This was the big anniversary year. And by God, we were looking forward to whatever the BBC was going to throw at us. We have to remember as well that this was year 4 of the show not being in production.
Yeah.
So the big question for all of us, is it going to come back this year? Will they bring it back this year? But we'll get into that. We will get into that. This was the year that, yeah, I don't know. It's really quite strange, isn't it? But yeah, this is the year that Doctor Who at the beginning of the year asked, how will the Doctor celebrate his 30th anniversary? So this was a big question for all of us, gentlemen, if you remember. And this article from Doctor Who magazine, the January edition, which was issue 195, yes, 195, said, with a special new drama adventure, if the rumours coming from BBC Enterprises are to believe. And then they went on to say, after 3 years of waiting and hoping, it looks as if the green light for future Doctor Who may have been given by BBC Enterprises, in particular their home video department. Oh, the good old days, guys, the good old days.
Straight to video, yes.
Yeah, well, it is currently being rumoured that home video may consider producing a special 30th anniversary drama production which will form the core of BBC Enterprises' commitment to celebrating this important event. Although details such as casting and a director are a long way off, it is hoped that should a production be made, a strong cast will be available, supported by a director popular with Doctor Who fans. Both BBC home video producer David Jackson and head of video production Penny Mills, there's names, have always been strong supporters of the Doctor Who range and are well aware of the loyal following the programme possesses. Recent sellout Doctor Who releases of The Tomb of the Cybermen and the worthwhile investments made into the Sharda project have been extremely successful. That's what it was saying. This has undoubtedly made Enterprises far more positive about Doctor Who than mainstream BBC television. Have been since Jonathan Powell became controller of BBC One and, in quotes this is, suspended production of the programme in 1989. Jackson has confirmed that should this project go ahead, Doctor Who magazine will bring you all the accurate, up-to-the-minute official news and statements regarding this project if and when it happens. Meanwhile, BBC Home Video will kick off their celebrations in January with the video release of The Demons shortly after its transmission on BBC Two in November and December this year. Alistair Pearson is providing the cover for the video. Do you remember this?
Well, the colorization, yeah.
That was fantastic. I think that was one of the highlights of '92 for me. I love the way that the wording from the BBC is our commitment to this is almost as strong as our commitment to mainstream television. It's sort of like there's their mainstream output and there's us over there. And I think at the time I would have been annoyed about it, but looking back now, I'm thinking it was actually a bloody firewall. It kept Doctor Who. It kept Doctor Who away from the nonsense and the fads going on in the rest of TV. Treat it like its own little thing. Leave us be as fans, for God's sake. Leave us to enjoy our show. Because when it came back, the BBC's hands were all over it.
Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? Because in hindsight, now looking back at all those years, BBC Enterprises, which of course, as we all know now, is now BBC Studios, they were looking as enterprises of financing and producing their own Doctor Who episode, a film in a sense. That was really ahead of its time, because look where studios are now with all the production they actually do, for various shows and original dramas and comedies, and so they produce an awful lot. So Doctor Who was firmly in their eyes back then, of course, partly of course because of just the money, because they knew there was an audience that would go straight to the video shop and buy this thing on video. But isn't it strange how that idea was sort of then, oh yeah, we can do that, we will do that, and it morphed and morphed and morphed, and it's become where it is now with BBC Studios rather than Enterprises.
but we dodged a bullet there with Dark Dimension, didn't we? We got Dimensions of Time instead. So what's not to like?
Okay, that's debatable, but we are going to come to that, of course. Absolutely, we are. But so that was the news that started at the beginning of the year. This was the year that gave us these. This was Doctor Who magazine throughout 1993. Everybody, as you can see, there are the covers there. Yes. And what a year it was. It was ups and downs and downs. Let's go with that. It was also the year that for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, having learned from 10 years previous with the 20th anniversary, this showed the level of commitment from BBC Enterprises, I think. They produced this. The logo, the 30th anniversary logo, ladies and gentlemen.
With the lovely title sequence as well on the videos. That was very nice, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it was amazing, Paul, because, we'd never had this sort of level of commitment from these people before, had we? And it was quite bizarre, actually, to see all this coming through. Yeah. And to have these little things. And it showed, for me, it showed a level of commitment in a sense. And it was nice. Everything was branded. Everything was uniformed. Okay,
it's almost like they cared, isn't it? Yeah.
This is though they cared. It did take them a little while. I think we must have been in February or March before this logo appeared, everybody. But we had a logo that appeared on practically all Doctor Who merchandise throughout that year. The 30th anniversary logo, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is interesting to go with the sort of the Baker era, and all the. I guess this is the late Pertwee, but definitely the Baker. It's the logo people associate with the Tom Baker era. I think most strongly, and it's one that does. It is beautiful. It does grab. It grabs your attention wonderfully.
But they go back to it every time, don't they? Because they did it for the 40th as well, and then of course RTD did it. They basically know what's good. And they stuck with it because they know we love it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it was unique, and it was on every single VHS of that year. And I don't know, it just felt like, as you say, Paul, that they cared. It felt like they actually knew what they were doing.
It's probably a fluke, I'd imagine. Yeah,
it probably was a fluke. However, part of me, Paul, thinks that it wasn't, because this started to happen.
Yeah.
The logo.
The words cha-ching come to mind, don't they?
Exactly. So they used that logo. As I say, it appeared on all the magazines of the year. It appeared on the books of the year. It appeared on the videos of the year. It appeared everywhere, basically. We're going to look at that in the show. But you could get these. You could get the official Doctor Who 30th anniversary logo mugs. You could get these pin badges. You could even get, as Fraser Hines would testify for years, a jacket.
Of course, yeah.
Do you remember this one, gentlemen?
I remember that because he wears one on the documentary in November, doesn't he? Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And he wore it for years. I really wanted one of these baseball jackets, gentlemen, but it was $69.95. Yes, $69.95 plus postage and packaging. And at my time of life then, that was a little bit out of my price range, unfortunately.
That's almost the same price as Doctor Who magazine is now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, with inflation. I don't know. But if you look closely at the Doctor Who magazine,
doesn't give you the warm feeling, does it? That putting that jacket on would have.
If you look at the Doctor Who magazines there, each of the magazines did actually have that logo on, as well as their main one there. So it was on those. But it was a brilliant year when it comes to things like all the merchandise and what have you, because VHS was the big thing, wasn't it, guys, back then? And can you remember how many VHSs we actually had in 1993? What about you in the chat?
Was it 20?
Ooh.
I was going to say pushing 40, but I'm not sure, because they started in 83, didn't they? After Longleat with Revenge of the Cybermen, and then they gradually picked up the pace after that, didn't they? I think by the time of the 30th, they were coming out very regularly. I'll stick with 40. Probably embarrass myself there.
Yes, you will. We've got Darren Reed saying, "Oh, look, those merchandise we'd want to buy." Paul Schlafter is saying to us, "I've still got the 30th anniversary mug all these years later. Mine broke, Paul, and I only bought one, whereas nowadays I would sort of buy two if it was any good. But mine broke, and I was gutted about it. And do you know what? In research for this show, I saw it recently on eBay. Other auction sites are available, and it was going for £30.
Oh, that's quite reasonable.
I was like, should I? It's a mug. It's a mug. Grow up. That's silly stuff, isn't it? Avon01 is with us. Hello, Avon. I remember watching Doctor Who on UK Gold throughout 1993 every Sunday morning after washing my car. Happy days. That's a proper British Sunday.
Yeah.
Wash the car. Kirsty's with us. Sadly, I've nothing to contribute to this discussion, as I did not bounce into the game until 1994. Big love to you all. Just rubbing it in there.
Watching, she wasn't born yet, is what she's saying. Yes. I'll see you later, Mrs.
Julianne saying to us, it was a great logo. Felt odd how it was celebrated without it being in production. It was all from a commercial point of view, though, as we're going to discover from Enterprises. They knew that Doctor Who was big, and here they had this little idea. Someone had this idea in 92. We could do a version of Doctor Who. We could do our own version. That was going to make them money. That would definitely have made them money, because we all wanted new Doctor Who, especially in the big 30th anniversary year. Darren Reed saying about the logo, at least they stopped using the McCoy building blocks. Thank goodness. Yeah, we're back to something sensible and recognizable to the public as well. That logo was, because you remember, guys, that logo, the 30th anniversary logo, was on posters in Woolworths, HMV, Virgin, Tower, R Price, WH Smith. We had so many.
And it's easier to put on merchandise, whereas the McCoy one is a real bugger, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Doesn't look right at all because of that slanty thing. You know, Paul asking us, was 93 the year the BBC started to see the value of the programme again? I would say undoubtedly. I think Enterprise, because of their sales. Now, as we mentioned there, the year before, it had Sharda with Tom. Massive sales for that one. And they were coming off the back of two really big releases in 92, Tomb of the Cybermen being the other one, of course.
God,
so I think at that point, it must have been 92 when some bright spark in Enterprises said, this is going to make us money. Why don't we make a film to celebrate the 30th anniversary? Why don't we do our own version? So that's why at the beginning of the year, Marvel are putting this thing into Gallifrey Guardian to say, there's a rumor. You know, again, with hindsight, you can sort of say, well, they sort of knew because the BBC had sort of said we might do something, but it's not fully go yet. So they made it into this rumor thing. Do you not think?
Yeah.
I think they'd also seen the Virgin books. I mean, they took them over, didn't they, after Survival? And they were like initially one every 2-3 months with the Genesis Time Worm thing, or Time Worm Genesis and Exodus and the other two. But by 93, they were really churning them out, and they were selling.
They were.
And I think that caught their attention as well, to be honest.
Their investment in the colorization of the videos as well showed a bit of commitment too, didn't it? I mean, the Silurians, the Demons Tail, the Autons, all that was really lovely, wasn't it? You know,
and very expensive at the time. Do you remember we read about that? We heard about this, didn't we? This color. Remember Tomorrow's World?
Yeah.
because I remember that Thursday night watching Tomorrow's World and being absolutely so excited about this and so impressed by this. And the fact that Howard Stapleford had said something, the presenter had said something along the lines of, well, it was about money, the cost of it and stuff. And I thought, oh, well, we're never going to get any more. And here we are all these years later in 2026, entering the real depths of AI. I mean, it's just, it's insane, isn't it? In such a short time, it's insane. Miles D, good to see you, my friend. How are you, lovely? Hello, panel. 1993 was the start of my Doctor Who obsession. I couldn't collect the VHSs quick enough. But I've got to ask, was there a version of Image of the Fendal with the anniversary logo? Well, Miles, let's have a look together. Because, yeah, the videos came out apace. And, gentlemen, in my eyes, there were 18 videos that year.
Wow.
You can see some of the covers for them here. Image of the Fendal, Miles, no, because it came out in that period just before the 30th anniversary logo started to appear on the VHSs. Now, I remember thinking at the time, this is a BBC Enterprise product, and they were late to put it on their own on their own videos.
Splendid.
Yeah. Good old BBC.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything else was fine apart from that. As you can see, we got Terminus, we got Enlightenment, we got the Image of the Fendal, we got the Demons colorized, we got Terror of the Autons colorized, we got the special extended edition. Oh, we didn't know anything back then, did we? Of the Silver Nemesis.
Then we got about 6 versions of that, yeah. So.
And there's probably more out there, Paul. We got Vengeance on Varos, we got the Keeper of Traken, we got the Invasion, we got Doctor Who and the Silurians colorized, the Curse of Peladon, Resurrection of the Daleks, and then the 2 Doctors, Planet of Evil, Dragonfire, and then the 30th anniversary edition of the Daleks Collector's Tin, which included Remembrance of the Daleks and the Chase, and the Trial of a Time Lord tin, which included the 14-episode series, of course, of Trial of a Time Lord with the 4 stories.
Now, can I just ask the panel or the viewers on this, when you bought the Trial of a Time Lord, were you sad as I was? You had to have a Colin Baker one with his photograph on the bottom, not another Doctor. It had to be him.
Do you know what, Paul? I searched high and low for a Colin Baker one because I was that I was that precise. For me, it was Colin's story. It had to have Colin on the bottom. I ended up getting Peter Davison.
I got Peter Davison. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love him to bit. But Ian, I remember going to R Price, Tower, HMV, WH Smith, and Woolies. Now, Woolies didn't have many of them in, but HMV, Tower, and Virgin did. So Muggins here was throwing the tins all over the shop, looking underneath, and every one of them was there, except every single shop, Mr. Colin Baker. Yeah. So I ended up going for the Peter Davison.
I was channeling my OCDness when I was doing it myself, trying to find Colin. I got one, but that would have I wouldn't have slept without having a proper Colin one. You know.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
To my shame, I did not get it. I didn't get one. I did not get one. I at the time I was a student, so I had a choice between, you know, the Chase and Remembrance,
or eating. Yeah.
That's what shoplifting's for.
Of course,
It's true. Yes.
No. So it's like either Chase or Trial, Chase and Remembrance or Trial. So I didn't, but you know.
Yeah.
I've got to say with those video releases though, when you look back at the release of Silver Nemesis, that cover looks shit, doesn't it?
It's awful. Yeah. I have to point out, for those of you that weren't there, Silver Nemesis was this big thing at the time because not only did it break the entire look of the Doctor Who range, which an awful lot of our fellow fans were not happy about, but the whole thing was this wraparound foil cover with green and silver foily type covers. It was supposed to be a big saily thing to go in with the word silver, but it was, in my opinion, it was awful. It just didn't work. I was annoyed as well that when you put it on the shelf, the spine, of course, was that greeny, silvery foil thing as well as the black. It didn't mix in with everything. It was awful, Ian.
It wasn't reversible either, was it? You couldn't.
No.
They didn't give you the option.
No, it wasn't.
Shocking, really. But, yeah,
I'd forgotten this with the year the Invasion came out as well. That's really jogged my memory. Was that the first one they brought out? Was incomplete at that point? I can't remember.
Yes, it had the narration as well, didn't it?
Yeah, with Nick Courtney going, "Let's watch." Yeah.
The reason I say 18, everybody, and you can count them there, is because I am including Close Remembrance of the Daleks in the original Daleks tin as 2. Of course I am. That Dalek tin, of course, for those of us who have it, put your hand up if it hasn't rusted.
I don't think
Everybody-
mine has, actually. I've got
As
a
in, well, why
Yeah.
is mine? Mine is over there, and I know there's a lot of you in the audience and lots of other fans. The thing has rusted. I don't know why, and it's really annoying. It's
Has
not
it been a
done
bit
anything.
moist, JT?
I don't know actually. The Trial of a Time Lord one is fine, and they were always kept in the same thing, so I don't know. But there you go. That's how many of of those beautiful VHSs we had. Darren Reed is saying to us, guys, my aunt had UK Gold. I used to drive from college in Bromley to Enfield to tape all those Sunday omnibus stories that I'd yet to see. Happy days. That's a hell of a drive, even now.
Yeah.
You know,
Worth it, though.
it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
What else we got? Farsight and FJ Canal, they are appreciating the Virgin novels. We're going to come to that in a second. The new adventures were every 2 months, starting in June in '91. And FJ Canal, I love the Virgin New Adventures. Some of them were terrific. Sure, the increase in the book sales interested the BBC. They must have done, because eventually they said, we're having them back, thank you.
Well, thanks, Alan Yentob, as well. Don't we have a repeat season 92 into 93 as well, with all the other bits and pieces as well? Yeah.
Paul, I'm glad you asked that, because yes, we did. I can tell you that on from January the 8th to February the 12th, 1993, Genesis of the Daleks was repeated as part of the 30th anniversary season, and that title sequence was on it on the BBC, if you remember. I believe it was used there.
Wow.
I don't remember that, but I was told it was.
Oh,
February
nice.
the 19th to March the 12th, 1993, it was the turn of Caves of Androzani. March the 19th to April the 19th, it was Revelation of the Daleks. April the 23rd to May the 14th, it was Battlefield. And then later on in the year, from November the 5th to December the 17th, it was Planet of the Daleks.
Yes. The Battlefield repeat helped push up their ratings as well, didn't it? To beat Shooty, didn't they? That one.
They'd colorised episode 3 of Planet of the Daleks as well, hadn't they? For that.
I missed you there. What you say?
Did they colorise episode 3 of Planet of the Daleks for that as well? Because
They tightened it up, didn't they?
Not black and white at that point, no?
It was still black and white as far as I recall.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Wonder when
and
they
they
did that. Can't remember.
I think they colorized it because then they released it. Did they release it with
The Dalek War set they did.
Yeah, Frontier in Space.
Yeah.
And that was the following year.
I thought they'd showed it on. Mind you, it might have been the later time when because they showed it again, didn't they?
But when they did Planet of the Daleks, they did those lovely 5-minute little interludes before, didn't they? With the history of the police box and stuff like that, and that kind of thing. Antiques Roadshow and all that kind of thing. Remember them?
I have to be honest, when these repeat things were going on, especially in 1993, I didn't really sit down to watch them. I do remember sitting down with a fellow I was seeing at the time for Caves of Androzani and him going, this is actually really good. But my mind at the time was just, when do we get into the club? I've got this on VHS. Where do we get into the club? Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel the need to actually sit down with it. And it was Friday night, as far as I remember, in 1993, which meant it was definitely club night. Mind you, so was Saturday, Sunday.
For some fans, I know we would say this, for fans of certain vintage, the 5 Faces was a real turning point for fans. I wonder if fans in the 90s felt that these repeats were like their 5 Faces, because they had, or 7 Faces, they had the Time Meddler, the Mind Robber, etc., and all the other Pertwee stuff, etc., Sea Devils, all running from like 92 up to 93, didn't they? So it almost was like the 5 Faces all over again, wasn't it?
It was just great. I remember being really, really pleased that at least the BBC were acknowledging that the fact that Doctor Who was 30.
Yeah.
And they were doing it. But if you were around and you remember these things, whatever your age was, let us know in the chat. Farsight is saying about the videos, I've still got all those. Bless you, Farsight. And Zach Whitten's with us saying, I got 1993 videos, Demons, Invasion, and The Curse of Peladon. Shame I can't watch them now. I know there's no video player now, is there? I wish I'd kept my bloody video player. Mind you, I wouldn't be able to put it into a telly now, probably.
If there's a will, there's a way. Yeah.
Well, probably,
some weird SCART adapter thingy.
I had an awful lot transferred over to not Doctor Who, but other things transferred to disc, DVD disc, or McKenny Everett's and stuff are transferred over because I knew I wasn't going to be able to play the VHS. So that was good. I've kept the VHSs as well, though. Don't worry. Legion of James, hello, mate. Did they put the making of mini documentary that was on the Silver Nemesis VHS on the Blu-ray? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Oh, well, which Blu-ray? I'm talking about DVD. They did to the DVD. Did they on the season 25 Blu-ray, guys?
Yes, it's on there, but I don't remember being on the video. I think they had rights problems for the VHS, didn't they?
I can't remember. It's too long ago, and I didn't look into it too much.
I mean, I really loved. I'm sorry, guys. I really loved the repeat season they did because, and I must admit, I found that I was before going out to the pub, I was watching these things sort of, you know, when you don't mean to, but you find yourself falling into watching something that you've seen, you know, dozens of times before. Or actually, in this case, a lot of this stuff hadn't seen it at all. So to actually get to see Planet of the Daleks, to actually get to see the Daemons is a fantastic story. I mean, that really, that really opened up John Pertwee to me. Because having seen The Five Faces and having seen The Carnival of Monsters, which was kind of funny and, you know, exciting, but it really didn't grip in the same way as something like the Daemons did. And you have a real appreciation of sort of just actually how magnetic Delgado is as the master.
Yeah,
it totally blew me away. The watching in the November 92, watching the end of the first episode, or getting the first episode of the Daemons, it's just fantastic. I mean, I was on the. I don't think I'd ever been so excited by an episode of Doctor Who since the first episode of Remembrance. You know, it's like it's literally you're on the edge of your seat. You've forgotten that it's got, you know, it's a TV program and it's going to end, and you know, sort of like the credits come up and you're like, oh, damn it, I've got to wait 7 days, and it's like,
And it was a treat. It was a treat for fans at the time, because I remember some of the fans that were around me were really excited about this, because you had that element. You had the Demons Before Christmas in '92, then you had your Christmas break, and then you came back, as I say, for Genesis of the Daleks, which we'd all seen millions of times before, for January the 8th. So it was a good season, really. The BBC were really going for it this time around.
But not the full version. You see, I'd never seen the full version. I was familiar with the LP. I was familiar with in '82. They did the Monsters season on BBC One.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and there was 2 45-minute shortened episodes. Of Genesis, and actually getting the full effect of the original reveal of Davros. Michael Wisher's sort of like, you know, gently stroking the button, or gently stroking the switch.
Chilling, isn't it? The first reveal of Davros is chilling. But
it's
I think with those repeats, the cumulative viewing audience for Genesis now must be at least 3 billion people.
Easily.
I mean, it works now,
and that's just us even watching it, to be fair.
These repeats in 1993 to celebrate the show's 30th anniversary were all on BBC Two, and they did very well with around about 1 million each week. So not too bad for a show that had been off the air at this point nearly 4 years. We've got Paul Schlefter saying to us, I'm checking now who I've got on the tin. It's John Pertwee. Julianne is saying, my
from the Five Doctors, I remember as well. I think that was that.
It was, yeah. My Trial of a Time Lord tin has Colin on the bottom, says Julianne. Steve Andrews is saying, I've got a Colin Baker one. You lot. Funky is saying, Paul, I searched for the Colin Baker tin. I took it to the counter and I got a Tom Baker one from the storeroom instead. Oh, how annoying.
Well,
not because it was Tom, but just because you spent that time looking for it. Oh, God. Paul Schlefter is saying on the Dalek tin, it's the Emperor Dalek from the Evil of the Daleks. That's right. There wasn't so much fuss on that one for me to try and find the right one. FJ Kinau, I was a student and couldn't afford the old VHSs. The VNA books and CD soundtracks satisfied my Doctor Who acquisition sickness. Oh, bless you. You're Robert Payne saying they should have known Doctor Who fans like matching covers. Now, the thing was they did. So what they did when they announced that Silver Nemesis was coming is that they were really pushing the Silver Nemesis, the 25th anniversary, and this cover, and that they were making it into a special because it was celebrating 25 years of the show. I remember this in the magazine. It didn't work for them, and thankfully we never saw these sort of things ever again.
Was this the first time that they had extended editions? Because they had Battlefield and Curse Fenwick later, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, they came later. So yes, yeah. But that made it all exciting for Silver Nemesis, wasn't it? These people put back in. I remember us being excited about a story that some of us still at the time, including myself, were a bit meh about, you know. Silver Nemesis looks like a Steam Rally poster, says Dalek Shalom. And Steve Braddock with us saying, yes, I remember that the huge double invasion box set with the links by Nick Courtney, God love him. It's as I was putting together this show as well, guys, I suddenly just remembered how lucky we were, because all the people that were still around then with us, you know, it was incredible.
Like I said, I love the bits when Nick, you know, talking to Cameron and going, let's watch.
Let's watch. And yeah, that's how we used to do it. I was trained to do that sort of stuff.
I know,
by the
but
way.
it's just very funny though, isn't it? When he does
down
that. Yeah.
And usually it was just some guy down there going, no television or anything like that.
Yeah.
The Silver Nemesis video had a US documentary about the making of the show included, said Zach Witten. Thank you, Zach. And Funky saying, I still have my Demons and Silver Nemesis VHS because both are signed by the relevant doctors. Oh, how lovely. Oh, my God.
Nice.
John signed your Demons. Oh,
Fantastic.
that is wonderful. That is lovely, isn't it, really? Legion of James saying, my Dalek tin is completely rusted all around the edges. Mine too. Somebody said if you use fairy liquid or around it, it cleans it up a little bit. But I was just looking at it now thinking, does it? If you have a remedy for how to clean the Dalek 1993 tin, then let me know. Why was that the only one that... Because there were several tins that came after. There was a second Dalek tin that came a few years later. There was a Cyberman tin that came and a Master tin. And they are in perfect condition over there. Perfect. You know, they must have had some sort of sealant on them or something.
Yeah.
John the Computer Doctor's Dalek tin is in good nick. Well, you.
Polycarbide. It's bonded polycarbide.
Yeah, of course.
All the rest of it has to make do with metal. You know, he's got the bonded polycarbide, you know.
This is a fun story from Darren Reed, who says he was briefly in hospital in August 1993 and he sneaked out to the local town to purchase the newly released Curse of Peladon. No one had realized they'd gone and come back. The things Doctor Who fans do.
You couldn't put it on in your ward and watch it with the rest of the patients, so could you? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. Yeah.
They wouldn't have had, can you imagine back then? Yeah.
I'll go to the TV room and watch it. One of the TV rooms you have in hospitals, kind of thing.
I wonder if they had VHSs in there, though, back then.
Probably not. Yeah.
I don't know. Good to see you all. Steve Andrews saying to us here, it was black and white when it was shown. I still have the ones I recorded. Yeah, of course, because a lot of us would video things, remember, that in those days, weren't we?
Yeah.
You tape it off the telly. Yeah.
I still see tape things now, even when
I do as well.
I'll go and tape it, shall I? Yeah.
Can somebody tape it for me? What tape are you using? What's happening there? No, it's really. But it
drives my friend crazy when I say taping. He said, "No, you can't tape it." Do
you know, guys? It took me years to realize how to get the timer on the bloody VHS to work, and then I thought I was dead clever when I actually got it to work. And I would tape all these things and never watch them because I was too busy still being out, you know. And eventually, you think there's too much and not bother. It was ridiculous.
I was quite sad. I had a VHS clips tape, and I knew Doctor Who was going to be on. I'd record little snippets on this clips tape all through the years. Yeah,
really?
That's efficient, and that is bloody brilliant. And
we've got here Rocking Terry Lee joining us from over in the States. Hi, mate. I got a VHS player from a charity shop new in the box for $10 and I sold it for $60. Wow. He's that's a musician for you, see. He's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Knows how to make the money there. And here we go. Paul Schlefter saying to us, all of the repeats to a new young fan were very exciting. I have such happy memories of all the Friday repeats. They introduced me to the 2nd and 6th Doctors. Really happy days. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, lovely.
Good, isn't it? That's nice. Well done. Rockin' Terry Lee again saying to us, growing up in the wilderness years was a good time to be a teenager. And you had some fantastic music as well, I have to tell you.
Yeah,
you really did. Without bragging, says John the Computer Doctor, I still have 2 working video recorders. So we know where to go, guys.
So, John, you can tape anything you like. That's fine.
What we got here? Thank you for your super chat, Mark Greaves. JT, I don't remember much of Doctor Who 93, but I do remember hiding under my girlfriend Frankie's bed when her dad came home early. We'll move on.
Yeah. Too much information there, Mark.
Yep. Woo.
Good lad.
Yeah. Good on
you. Well avoided.
Stony ground. Goodness me. The things we get told from our friends in the chat, I'll tell you. Rory Standage, hello to you. Evening, JT, Ian, Paul, and your guest. That's Digby there. I've had a few more issues, but I'm here now. Well, good to see you, mate. I hope you're keeping well. Good to see you, and thank you for coming back to see us. I was only thinking about you the other day, mate. Hope you are well. You can give us an email, whoseviews1@gmail.com. What else we got here as well? Oh, yeah. So the VHS spines were a nightmare for fans. The logo was all over the place, says Funky. Yeah. That's why we got stuck with these DVD covers, because we all complained about the VHS covers not being the same. The BBC learned the lesson and wouldn't change them after launching 2 or 3 of these bloody awful grey things. Really annoying, because I hate these. I hate those covers.
Well, I'm still waiting for them to change the Blu-ray collection limited edition sets and change them probably for the last couple. They'll probably tweak them in some way just to annoy
Probably
us.
will, won't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Typical BBC. Yeah.
traditional, wouldn't it? Yeah. Regarding the Dalek tin, JT, says Steve Browder, gently rub the edges of the tin with wire wool.
That might do it. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Gentle, though. Gentle.
Gently.
What were those wire wool pads with the pink thing you used to get?
Brillo pads.
Brillo pads. Other pads are available. Yeah.
Can you still get them?
Yeah. I think so, yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, says FJ Canal. I was still collecting the rest of the Target books. I tried W.H. Smith without success to try and get The Mysterious Planet. I picked it up on eBay 15 years later. How much did you spend? I'm interested to know on that one. And Rory saying to us, I still say tape or record. I think it's funny. It shows our age, doesn't it? I wonder what the youngsters call it. Do they just say download?
Probably,
Kirsty, what do you call it? Because you're, what do you call it? All right. So what was I talking about? Yes, I was talking about the VHSs. So the VHSs, we know where we are with it now. It was also, of course, as many of you saying already in the chat, it was a mad year for the Virgin New Adventures, and look what we got from them.
Some crackers there.
Yeah. Started off with The Highest Science by Gareth Roberts, which was one of my favorites, I think. But a hell of a lot of them there, guys. Can you see that?
I can see them. I've got a confession to make. I've never read a Virgin novelization.
Oh my word! Get off.
I know. Yeah. So
some of them are very good, Paul.
Yeah.
This
is all new to me. This part of it. Yeah.
White Darkness is fantastic. That's all like Haiti zombies or voodoo rather, and Nazi undersea or underground bases with submarines. That really turned into a cracker. I always like Christopher Boulis's writing, but certainly I'm not really that much about Steve Lyons' writing. So the bottom row I could leave Conundrum, but those from Birthright, Iceberg, Bloodheat, my God, Bloodheat, Dimension Riders and Left-Handed Hummingbird are fantastic books. Really.
Bloodheat's the Silurian one, isn't it? Is that Gary?
Yeah.
That
was Jim Mortimer. Jim Mortimer.
But
Bloodheat, Paul, was responsible for firing the imaginations of countless fans who continued going back to that parallel Earth where the Silurians had won, basically.
There's a big thing in the magazine, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They did storylines with humans and Silurians coexisting.
Yeah.
Wasn't that story the one where they've got a human pet and the human gives them this crown with a stone in the center and Silurian puts it on and it blocks his third eye?
That was one of the that was one of the end of Doctor Who weekly or monthly comic strips. Right.
That was a great little story. I remember that one being really fascinating. And then the Silurian thinking he was being kind, but actually he was trying to, sort him out. I thought it was really interesting.
Bloodheat, there was a scene where they went into the Silurian base and found the skeleton of the third Doctor where he'd been murdered.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think they carry on traveling in his TARDIS, I think.
It gets very complicated.
Yeah,
this is where I really started to think I can't be done with all this sort of stuff. But my loyalty to the range was I would buy them anyway. But a lot of them remained just on the shelf, again, because of time. But the Bloodheat one where this is silly. This is, because they got rid of one TARDIS and swapped it for the same TARDIS from a different universe and earlier in its timeline. And it was getting a bit too fanboy for me. It really was.
I was always intrigued by the covers. They look very interesting, especially the Silurian one you mentioned, Ian. The one at the bottom left with the kind of bug creature and the TARDIS. What's that one? That was intriguing.
That's Birthright by Nigel Robinson, which is definitely worth a read.
Is it? Right.
Victorian England, I think. Victorian England.
It was, wasn't it? It had that sort of Gothic Holmes type feel, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Deceit and Lucifer Rising are quite hard work. And of course, that was the first of Jim Mortimer's 2 for that year. But Iceberg by David Banks was kind of like a sequel to the 10th Planet. You see, they've got the Jade Pagoda in the background there as well. I can't remember how that comes into the story.
I can't remember how that was. There was a fuss about it, wasn't there? And I can't remember.
There was. Yeah, but it was one of those things where they have to do this. It always happens. It's like they went back to Snowcap Base at the South Pole, and the commanding officer there was a female. And of course, naturally, she was the daughter of Cutler, who was the CO in the 10th Planet. And it's like, why do they always do that? The chances of that ever actually happening are virtually zero. But there we are. They always have to, oh, they're a relative of. And it's the same interconnected bollocks that led through virtually the entire new series from 2005. It was all, somebody was relative of somebody who'd, you know,
well, this is where I think a lot of the ideas for when the show eventually came back had come from, that sort of new adventures thing, because it was those elements that started, because we had at some point, I can't remember if it's the past or the future now from 93, but we had Keatu Lethbridge Stewart coming into it, and that alienated me as well, because this is silly. I just wish they had stuck to actually just telling proper standalone and not gone down those fanboy routes. Farsight is saying Lucifer Rising and Blood Heat are all-time classics, and Doctor Who 1963 with us saying, I've not seen these covers before, they are really cool. The thing back in 1993, of course, was that the books were there to try and get another audience for Doctor Who as well. So they were superb covers, and they looked good on a shelf when they were face out. Now, of course, you tend to get bookshops putting books on bloody tables, and that happened back in the day. But you also had them on the shelves with the face outs as well, as we used to call them, and that was important because you know it had to grab your reader's eye to say, "Oh, what's this?" You know. So there's a couple of them.
I did have friends at the time who were reading them and they're saying some of them were very good, but also I'd heard different reviews about they were a bit adult in places and getting a bit pretentious in places and stuff like that.
Oh, terribly pretentious.
Yeah,
some of them were terribly pretentious, and that's what would alienate me, because I was just thinking, this isn't quite my Doctor Who. This is not the way I would want it to go if it was on telly. And certainly I think as well that if any of those, as we did see when it came back, some of those books would have to be reworked heavily for a general audience, because they were very sort of fanny. Gavin Graham was still Betamaxing back in 1993 with the occasional VHS buys. Good Lord, were you? Good for you. I liked Birthright, and Blood Heat, says FJ Canal. They really scared me after having read The Cave Monsters. Thank you for that. I've had a couple of things there from people saying me how to clean the tin. I'm going to try that. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Julianne.
You do a video about it. That'd be a cracking show.
Couldn't I really? You see me going like this. Richard Brooks, I have many of those, but not all of them. The meddling monk was behind it all, says Farsight. Yeah. FJ Canal's also saying, I never understood the J-TARDIS, neither did I. I don't get it all. It was one of those things, didn't it?
It was.
And Chris
it came up in Sanctuary, didn't it? It came up in the book Sanctuary, which was also fantastic. And there was something, I don't know if there was a component in the TARDIS that made the TARDIS toxic or something, and the Jade Pagoda was an escape capsule that the TARDIS eventually, when it repaired itself, honed back in on so the Doctor could get back to it. That was a nice little concept as a kind of one-off, but obviously it came back, but I genuinely can't remember how.
I can't because I've dismissed it. Chris Kaz is saying, didn't Deceit feature Absalom Dak? I can't remember either.
It did.
I haven't read that one.
It did.
It did, says Ian. Well, there we go.
It was a clone of Absalom Dark, and he got he was beheaded, I believe.
Oh. I can't remember that either. Richard Brooks, the Virgin stories could be too fan and continuity or too dark sometimes, Paul, but I do like most of them. Farsight was saying to us, Lucifer Rising was written by Andy Lane and Jim Mortimer, I think.
Yeah.
And Paul Schlefter is saying, I've just remembered we got Power and Evil novelized in 1993 because I got them for Christmas. Although I remember I was confused why Sarah Jane was in Power at the beginning. Yeah. Talking of which, we got lots of the books there, the magazines, of course, the videos, but we also got these little things called cassettes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Now, these were massive. These were so popular at the time. They were actually in what we now know to be the Talking Books, audio books charts. Number one for each of them. We had The Power of the Daleks. We had Fury from the Deep. And even though it had just been released on VHS, they decided that because everything had been done, because John Pertwee had done the narration for it, they decided to go ahead with the release of The Tomb of the Cybermen, which still went on to become a huge seller on cassette for the BBC. It got to number one. So these three were big sellers for the BBC and the BBC's audio collection, guys. And I remember them. They're on the shelf here behind me. I remember them so fondly and being so excited about them.
Eric Saywood's narration that he wrote for Tom is a bit weird at times, isn't it, though?
Yeah,
especially for Fury from the Deep. He describes as it Quill and his sidekick as being a psychotic Laurel and Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah.
which I think is a lovely way of describing them. But it doesn't feel particularly doctory. It feels almost Douglas Adams-ish.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes I wonder about Mr. Saywood and his attempts at writing. If that's a wish. Oh God, do you know what I mean? I'm trying.
Were
to
these two a little bit later, JT? I've got the others, but we had Macroterra.
They were a little. They were a little bit later.
They
or a little bit
were lovely
beforehand,
releases. I remember being. I was in one. I think it was a WH Smith somewhere. I think it might have been Meadow Hall in Sheffield.
All right,
and, they'd only got one, and they went through the back and they brought a box of new stuff out that they hadn't put out yet, and there was nothing, and they tipped the box up and 3 of them fell out. Thought, right, thank you. Have them, all different ones as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely.
Yeah, I was a massive fan of the cassettes. I mean, this was the start of the releases of all these missing stories, and they was fantastic, really were, and the quality was really good as well. That was the fascinating thing. We never heard Power or Fury before, but these were amazing releases. Yeah.
To put it in context for those of you that were not there, you whiskerless youths, the BBC Radio collection on cassette had come from, naturally, the original vinyl releases and morphed into cassettes, and then morphed again around this time into CDs. They were massive, and not only did they exploit Doctor Who's back catalogue, but they exploited practically everything else from the BBC. You could get everything from the Magic Roundabout to Fawlty Towers to Victoria Wood to their latest BBC dramas. The Miss Marple range is still out there today, and it's just incredible. They were massive, and it was this whole revolution of what we now know to be talking books, audio books, which was incredible. And of course they were going to go and do Doctor Who. And they were massive sellers because we all went and got them. It was such a special time, but to get those 3, Funky is saying to us, the Tomb cassette was delayed after the recovery of episodes. I remember as well, after the VHS was such a success, Funks, that there was talk apparently within Enterprises about whether or not they should release the audio. And then somebody said, we've spent the money on it. So they did. And by God, they got the money back, because we went and bought the audio cassette as well, because we want completion. It was part of the set. Steve Braddock is saying, I've still got my Fury from the Deep cassette, but I can't play it, but I've still got it. I'm lucky I've still got a cassette player.
They didn't quite cotton on at first, did they, with the fact that, all right, the Tomb of the Cybermen video release was huge, obviously. It was one of the defining moments of the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you want to enjoy it, but you know, if you're driving along, you can't put the VHS on, can you? Because, bad things might happen. Plus, where do you plug your telly in? So you bring out the soundtrack and you can listen to it in the car.
Absolutely.
And it just covers that angle. So of course we were going to buy it again. Of course we were.
It's not the same now, is it? The car I've currently got came without a CD player. So I inquired, and they wanted something like £300 to put the CD player back into the car. So, of course, that got turned down. And I miss it because all my albums, all my audio books, the amount of audio dramas I listened to as I was driving to various places, and now I'm stuck with the radio, which comes in and out even today when you're on a motorway, tune in, tune out. I would listen to so many of those things. And I think it's a crime, quite frankly, that they've taken these things out of our cars without asking us, because everybody assumes you download stuff. Well, not everybody. I'm not going to be doing that. Perhaps with the rise of physical media now, guys, they might actually start thinking about putting cassettes or CD players back in cars. Rory Standage is saying, the BBC shops, I love visiting the one in Tunbridge Wells when I used to visit family in Kent. I have to say the Tunbridge Wells BBC shop was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. I loved doing it, and I went in there a couple of times, and I loved the Doctor Who section that they had back in those days. It was just a thrill walking in, going, it was great. And Julianne is saying, yes, those Troughton cassettes were never out of my car cassette player at work. Paul Schlefter, I've still got all those cassettes, including Macro and Evil from 1992. I remember seeing the missing episode list in Doctor Who magazine that year. I was gutted to see how many episodes were missing.
But this was the start, wasn't it? Because when it was about 2000, we got them on CD. We got the Massacre and so on and so on, and that was just wonderful, getting all these fantastic stories we never thought we'd ever hear. Because thanks to those lovely people who recorded them back in the day, I could be more grateful. Thank you so much to those guys who recorded them. Amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Did they start with Web of Fear? I remember it really being a big thing when Web of Fear came out with Fraser Hines narration. It was wonderful. But then they eventually brought out Abominable Snowmen, but that was on CD. But that was after they brought out Web of Fear, which seemed odd to me. But fantastic anyway.
The whole thing about this is that all this was so planned. I love the fact that that logo was on everything. To let you know about the New Adventures, the 30th anniversary logo was on the back of the books on the New Adventures. It was on the back of all of them. It had been thought about, guys. This was branded brilliantly. They knew what they were doing. It seemed they knew what they were doing. This was Doctor Who's 30th anniversary. And it seemed that everybody knew about it, including the press. A lot of them were celebrating Doctor Who's 30th anniversary at the beginning of the year. Guess who's 30 this year, said the Mail on Sunday. We had this from the Sunday Mail. A 1.5 page exterminate, but our hero just will not play dead, they said. Many happy returns to Doctor Who. We even had this from the Times one Sunday when you used to get these silly things for kids. Can you see that illustration there at the bottom there?
Oh, lovely. That's nice. Yeah.
Now, this was all at the beginning of the year. So the press were very aware that this massive show was 30 this year, and everybody was on tenterhooks. However, at the beginning of the year, something happened to put a dampener on for a little while, at least, because this was the year that we lost Jacqueline Hill. She passed away on the 18th of February 1993, and it hit fandom. Our first leading lady, the woman that uttered the first lines ever in Doctor Who, departed in the 30th anniversary year, and it just didn't seem right at all. Do you remember this, guys?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was very sad. Yeah.
And it's weird looking back on it now, because it just showed you, doesn't it? I mean, some of these people have been gone for quite a while. And
sad.
I never got to meet her because I was too young.
It's nice occasionally on the Blu-rays, I think of season 2, there's little snippets from early conventions that she went to very briefly, which are very nice, but all too brief, sadly.
Yeah, exactly. But there you go. But it was absolutely 100% right that during this particular show, we just remember Jacqueline, our first leading lady.
Yeah, and she was superb. Yeah.
She was also superb when she returned in 1980, everybody. Do you remember?
Yeah, from Meglos. Yeah.
That wouldn't be allowed now. Coming back as a different character. Oh, I'm not sure.
They've done it the other way around, haven't they? But not that way around. Yeah. So,
yeah. But Jackie Hill, everybody, passed away February 1993. God love her.
I saw an episode of Tales Unexpected on I think it's the Sky Arts channel. They repeat it on a loop on there, and she was brilliant in it. It was about it must be about 91 or something like that. And she was really good. And she played this American lady, and her accent was superb, really good. Yeah.
She was a hugely talented actress.
Yeah, she was.
Hill.
Apparently, she's responsible for giving Sean Connery his first break. She recommended him to her husband, Alvin Rakoff, and that's how he got his first job, apparently. So,
and he would talk about that in his life as well, wouldn't he? And he wrote about Jacqueline Hill and how special she was to him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But as we say an awful lot of the time here on Who's Views, these people are never forgotten. And we've just proved that as well, because Jacqueline Hill, although she left us in 1993, still so important. Our first on-screen leading lady. My goodness me. Doctor Who magazine played a big part in 1993 for all of us. And this was exciting. Doctor Who on the radio for the 30th anniversary. Unconfirmed rumours coming from the BBC's broadcasting house are that John Pertwee may be asked to resume his role as the third Doctor in a series of new adventures for radio transmission. So who wet themselves over this?
I did. I was so excited about this, and then I heard it. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Was this Ghosts of End Space, or was this the...
No, this is Paradise of Death.
This is Paradise, what became Paradise of Death.
Yeah.
But the fact is, at the time, Doctor Who magazine, I remember reading this going, this is fabulous news. Okay, it's the radio, but it's John Pertwee on the radio as Doctor Who. and it was a series. So Doctor Who magazine thought at the time. It says, in what looks like being a team up between BBC Radio's drama department and BBC Enterprise's BBC audio collection. You see, I don't do things without sort of logic coming here, everybody. The third Doctor, yes, it is. The third Doctor may once again be in action. It will not be the first time that the Doctor's adventures have transferred to this medium. During the 70s, Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen did a series of mathematical education programs in the form of mini dramas featuring the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith for BBC Radio 4. Then in 1986, in between seasons 22 and 23 of Doctor Who on television, former script editor Eric Saywood penned Slipback. We'll move on. Subsequently released onto the BBC audio collection alongside Genesis of the Daleks, which we all know. That was a cassette, wasn't it? Apart from the rumours concerning John Pertwee's involvement in this, no other production or casting details are forthcoming, although Terence Dix and Eric Saywood are two names being suggested as writers for the project. Terence Dix was script editor during the Pertwee era. While representatives for John Pertwee could not deny or confirm these rumours, things don't change.
No,
they don't change.
It's all politics, isn't it? Yeah.
The BBC, until it's signed and he's got the money, nobody say anything. The BBC Radio 4 publicity office were very enigmatic indeed, says Doctor Who magazine. A spokeswoman said that as she has not heard about the project, she could not comment, although it would be the sort of drama concept that Radio 4 would be interested in. She then proceeded to say that even if it were true, she certainly wouldn't actually tell Doctor Who magazine at that point anyway. With the recent government green paper on the future of BBC broadcasting very much in the minds of radio controllers, again, things don't change. It is quite possible that Doctor Who may not go onto the Radio 4 network anyway. BBC Radio 5 has always had drama output, and a few years back transmitted the 60s Century 21 record versions of Jerry Anderson's Thunderbird's Adventures. Along with BBC Video's proposed 30th anniversary drama project, of which we have no further news on yet, this rumoured BBC Radio drama is yet another indication that almost every department of the BBC, apart from television itself, is aware of the popularity of the programme.
Now, I'm misremembering this, but I know that Digby mentioned Ghost of N Space. Did they record Ghost of N Space round about the same time as Paradise to Death that held it back for 96?
No, it was later, wasn't it?
Because I thought, I remember John Pertwee moaning about the fact that they're promising another one. It took ages to get to the next one and then put it out.
They did hold it back, but I think it went back into studio in 94, 95. It was quite a fairly quick turnaround, really.
Yeah. But it took 2 years to broadcast the second one, though, didn't it?
It
took 2 years to listen to it as well.
With the abrupt departure of BBC controller of BBC One, Jonathan Powell, at Christmas. Here's Jonathan Powell coming up again, everybody. Perhaps it will not be too long now before the television chiefs finally make up their minds about the programme's future one way or another. Now, I love the way Doctor Who magazine used to write. It was honest, wasn't it? It was from a fan's point of view. This was honest stuff. And now, of course, it's not. Now it's all kissy, make sure we're clean so we keep the bloody license. But in those days, they didn't really care. And it was very much you say what it was about. So here they are saying, oh, look, everybody, and I'm paraphrasing, Jonathan Powell's just buggered off. Yes, maybe we've got a chance of the show coming back. Because we knew by then that Jonathan Powell, of course, was the person responsible for acting the show in 89.
Yeah.
And as he now says, and we've covered this in our other Wilderness Years shows, they just forgot about it. And then he left the BBC and nobody was there to inherit it. So it became out of fashion. So that's really good. That's really good. It was an interesting time for this. I remember being quite excited about, oh my God, there could be an audio drama. This is good news. Yeah. We'll move forward then, because the next time this came up in Doctor Who magazine, it was this. Doctor Who on radio confirmed. Woohoo! Saywood or Letts to write. Oh. This was really funny as well, everybody. This came from the March edition of 1993's Doctor Who magazine, where they confirmed it was coming on. First, there was the Pescatons. Then there was Slipback. Now, 5 brand new Doctor Who adventures on audio to celebrate 30 years of the world's longest running science fiction television program. Now, that I also remember being 5 of them fantastic, because I was assuming that each episode was going to be like the Buffys at the time and stuff like that. It would be its own thing. Star Trek Next Generation, DS9, it was all going to be its own. So that was very misleading, Doctor Who magazine. Thanks very much. Still not happy about that to this day because Robbie Cobb got involved.
But it's mercifully only 5 episodes, though, wasn't it?
Oh, now I have to tell you about, before I forget as well, through the wilderness years, that last story we had from Doctor Who magazine, remember that lady from Enterprises saying, I don't know what you're talking about? She probably didn't, because I'm going to say allegedly at this point, but I was at a particular convention around about 94, maybe, I think. And it was sort of suggested there by certain people that a certain actor may have tipped off Doctor Who magazine about this radio series on its way.
I wonder
Can't
who was the
imagine
third
anybody
week.
doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
No.
Would it be an actor involved in
It could well possibly have been an actor very much involved with it as well.
somewhat central to the production?
I think possibly, but that's the sort of thing.
He's a mighty
He would have
nose, I
done.
believe. That's one you're referring to, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
do you know what,
sniffing
though?
out news.
I
Yeah.
believe it. I do believe, because he would have been so excited. He would have wanted to get it off the ground. He would have wanted people to be excited for it to make sure it happened. I can actually believe that he said to somebody in the editorial team, I'm developing this project, and this is what we're going to try and do for this year.
Good for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was excited about it, wasn't he? He really wanted to do these audios, and God love him. We know for a fact that if he had stayed on, he would have continued to do them. If he stayed.
Did he not say at a convention he was the current doctor or something?
He
like
did,
that?
yeah.
Something like that. Just to wind people up, I think. Yeah, yeah.
1993, and we all know why he did
Yeah.
it. 1993, he said at the Panopticon, which we'll come to in the show, I am the current doctor, with the others going, what?
Yeah.
What's he talking about? What?
Brilliant, yeah. Always
He
the
was,
showman. Yeah.
Terrible. As
Yeah.
rumoured in the last issue of Doctor Who magazine, which we covered, John Pertwee will once more don his cape and frilly shirt to record the plays during May 1993. Speaking to Ross King on BBC Television, Ross King, do you remember him? He went to LA and became all plastic.
Yeah, and he appears on the Lorraine show quite a lot, doesn't he, from Hollywood?
And you can tell he's all
yeah.
plastic. Several
Yeah.
wives down as well, allegedly. But anyway, LA, it gets to you, stay away. Speaking to Ross King on BBC Television in January, Pertwee suggested that he would be making 20 episodes, but sadly there are currently only a quarter of that amount planned. No further casting has been announced yet, and although writers such as Eric Saber, Barry Letts, Terence Dix and Philip Martin have been heavily tipped to be involved, as Doctor Who magazine went to press, the series producer Phil Clark of BBC Radio's Light Entertainment Department, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Was unable to confirm any writer as the contracts had not been agreed. So there's a bit of honesty for once. Eric Sabert, however, must be the top contender for the writing credit. The former Doctor Who script editor recently worked with the BBC Audio Collection and scripted the links for the forthcoming Missing Stories, The Power of the Daleks and Fury from the Deep. When Doctor Who was last off the TV screens, he also scripted Slipback, the show's first proper foray into radio drama. It is not clear whether the 5 episodes will actually be transmitted by BBC Radio later in the year, but the BBC Audio Collection already have tentative plans to release them in June or July. Then in the next issue of Doctor Who magazine, we will have firmer news about the stories, the cast, and of course the writers.
I'm so glad that you slipped back as a benchmark, aren't you?
It does say in this particular issue here as well, on this page in the top right hand corner here, anniversary special ? There is still no further news on BBC Video's proposed 90-minute drama production as suggested in Doctor Who magazine 195. BBC Video producer David Jackson was still remaining hopeful as we went to press, but if the production is to be produced in time for a November 1993 release date, then time must be seen to be running out. Fingers crossed. ... Yeah. But anyway, so at this point in 1993, here we were getting, gentlemen, the fact that John Pertwee was back as the Doctor, and it was going to be on radio.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it? 4 years off the TV, and it was a fantastic year. It really was. It was just such a good time.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And all I remember about 1993 was the fact that, okay, the show was not on air, which I was okay with by this point. But you're right, Ian, there was so much going on. There was a hell of a lot going on. Doctor Who magazine was brilliant then, because no internet, everybody don't forget it, but it was brilliant at telling us there's a possible film coming. There's an audio drama with John Pertwee coming. That was so exciting. You had to be there.
Yeah.
All these releases were coming out, the books, the VHS, the spin-off materials like mugs and stuff. There was so much. And then to top it all, everybody, they announced this. Marvel Comics team up with BBC Enterprises and Domin Temporal Services Limited, DSL, for the UK's greatest Doctor Who convention. I wet myself when this was announced in Doctor Who magazine. I was like, oh my God. I immediately got all the details to send to get the tickets. And this it's basically an advert, ladies and gentlemen, from the February edition of Doctor Who magazine. One of the high points of Doctor Who's 30th anniversary year is destined to be the official Doctor Who convention organized by Dominant Temporal Services Limited. Bless Dominic for coming up with that. The company have been organising the most recent series of Panopticon conventions in Coventry on behalf of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, the only British fan club recognised by the BBC. For DSL's 1993 Panopticon event, they have teamed up with Marvel UK's Doctor Who magazine and BBC Enterprises to help produce the UK's biggest and best convention update. The event takes place over the weekend of the 4th and 5th of September 1993 in London at the Novotel Hotel in Hammersmith. Happy days. Details of prices, etc., are on the advert on page 17 of this issue of Doctor Who magazine. But it was worth noting that the discount price rates will expire on the 28th of February 1993. And it was just so excited. Nicola Bryant had been confirmed at this particular point. Mary Tam was organized, was also confirmed at this particular point. And that was the start of what was to become this massive, massive cast. It was also the time when Mary Tam and Lalla Ward would appear at the same convention for the one and only time on stage together as the two Romanas. But the whole event, I remember just being blown away by the whole thing in 1993 and just surrounded by so many other fans. Pertwee and being, I am the Doctor, I've got a radio drama, Yabu to you lot.
He really rubbed their noses in it, didn't he? He loved it.
Yeah.
And he loved it. Sylvester and his spoons. It was just, it was incredible. It was incredible what was going on at the convention. How many of you in the chat were at the Panopticon 1993? I'd say it was one of the biggest ones that I went to as well, gentlemen. And it was quite nerve-wracking at first, but some of the people I met there, I knew for years afterwards, you know?
We've been lucky enough to get a lot of this footage on the Blu-ray collection, which is lovely. So I'm hoping that Mary Tam Lalla Ward panel will be on the eventually released season 16 collection set, hopefully. Very nice.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Mm.
I never even thought about that.
There's lots of extras, lots of that Panopticon again. There's lots of footage on the box sets.
Yeah,
for relevant doctors and companions. Yeah.
Let's see what the guys are saying to us at this point in the chat. Everything we got in '93 proved there was life left in the show and an appetite for it. So far sight. Compare it to now, as I always do. You know, there was more support and interest, I think, for Doctor Who in 1993, not just in fandom, but in the British public, because everybody knew the show was 30. Somehow, the magic attack. Do you remember, guys? Everybody seemed to know Doctor Who was 30. And I just remember lots of family members and not we's that I would work with and stuff saying, so is Doctor Who coming back this year? Because it had been in the papers that Doctor Who was coming back for the 30th anniversary.
It was huge. I mean, you compare it to the 60th.
Yeah, it's
damp squibs.
Damp squib.
But it's incredible, isn't it? That I think this is why we all have such positive memories of '93. Is that in '89 the show went away, but we wanted it to stay.
Yeah,
and I think today, you know, we just it's not the show anymore. It's not the show we recognise, and it's like. I know we've said this lots of times. I mean, various people have said this lots of times. It's like someone's wearing the face of someone we loved, but we know it's not them. It's basically we've got a zombie version of Doctor Who. That's, you know, it's had its heart's gone, you know, its mind's gone, its memory's gone, and you know, the BBC seems to be, you know, almost determined to keep cranking out more and more of it, not to let the damn thing sort of like rest. not to let the show rest, not to let us have, as it were, our positive memories of it. But I mean, the thing is, 1993. You look at the wealth of the New Adventure stuff coming out, showing that it sparked off this wave of creativity. The radio show, sparking off this, wave of new creativity, exploring, the rich universe of possibilities, with having at least then 7 different characters with their own timelines, with their own adventures. It just shows us what a brilliant idea the character of the Doctor is. Someone with multiple lives, parallel lives, crossing universes, crossing, different times. And as you say, the public was passionate, was well disposed towards it. I mean, obviously as fans were passionate, but the public were just well disposed towards it. I mean, I think that's why. Yeah,
definitely.
It's why it could come back. It's why it could come back.
We've got to be realistic as well. I love the fact in hindsight now. I mean, I knew it at the time. BBC Enterprises knew they were onto a gold mine, and do you know what? It's one of the things that has been handed down to their successors today, because the people doing equivalent of their jobs today in BBC Studios know that they're onto something. They've just got it wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think that BBC Studio staff today look back often enough at the track history of Doctor Who in BBC Enterprises, worldwide studios, to see that we should learn from this, because they don't. Yeah. They think everything is new. They think they're coming up with everything new. No, Doctor Who has been a staple and actually the foundation of what you are doing in BBC Studios now since 1964 and the Dalek Christmas. It was the Dalek Christmas of 64 that created BBC Enterprises, and look where it is today. So you should be thanking the Daleks. You should be thanking Doctor Who. 93 for me was the year they got it right, because their hearts were in the right place. The merchandise was good. The branding, as we've looked at, was good. The intent was good. The fact they were communicating through Doctor Who magazine, because that's the only place you could do those days, was good. The fact that they went, we need a new episode. Yes, it was down to money. Yes, they knew it was going to sell, but they knew they actually wanted to do it. Oh, the show's 30. It's not on telly. We've got to do something. We've got to do it. Very interesting, isn't it? Terry Leptall's given us 1,000 jewels and a corgi. So thank you.
As a dog lover, that's great news, I have to say.
Yeah.
Very right too, yes.
Thank you for that, Terry Leptall, who's also saying, yo, peeps. I wasn't long a Doctor Who fan before the wilderness was upon us. It was deeply frustrating. It's interesting where people are coming from, because we were, 4 years into the show being off air. And as I'm saying here, I was loving it by this point. I was loving all the new stuff. Digby's mentioning all the creativity. I'm also going to, as I say, on the other side of that, the money they were making. This show, which the BBC had conveniently forgotten about, was still making money. Funky is saying, if people think Paradise of Death was rough, don't try the Ghosts of End Space, which is a great way for me to actually say to you, if you haven't seen our review of the Paradise of Death, you can. It's out there on the playlists for you. Okay, it's in the reviews and the specials playlist, and we will be looking at the Ghosts of End Space at some point when I really get the courage to listen to it again.
but Sarah Jane references Anne Radcliffe. Come on, it makes references to literature.
Yeah, but Jeremy comes back though. Oh, God help us. Yeah,
Jeremy.
I'd rather she referenced Daniel Radcliffe and.
That's saying something from you, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's hard work. Whoa.
Yes. Yeah, so there we go, everyone. That's where we're up to on that one. So we knew there was a radio drama on its way, which was fantastic, and it was a brilliant year. Getting that ticket to all the details for the Panopticon, of course, though, was for me just something so. I was so excited about it. Oh my god! I couldn't wait, to be quite honest, for what it was, and it was also a big trip. It's like, got to go to London. Got the hotel booked near the play. Oh, it was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Happy times. Did any of you go to Panopticon 93?
I didn't know. No.
I was in Stockholm.
I only went to one Panopticon. That was in 86.
Right.
Where they showed Trial of a Time Lord episode 1.
Trial of a Time Lord. Ooh. Yeah, everybody was really looking forward to that. God bless them.
Yeah, and really, really, really enjoyed it for the first 15 seconds when they did the And then, unfortunately, it was downhill from there.
Yeah.
But
Spoilers, Ian, spoilers. Yeah.
Spoilers, I know, spoilers, behave. Paradise of Death, of course, did go into production, as we know. Liz Sladen came back to play Sarah Jane, as we know, Sarah Jane Smith, and the legend that was Nicholas Courtney. He was in there as well, as, of course, our beloved Brigadier Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. Again, it was so exciting when this thing came out. It was the 30th anniversary year, and here were these three icons of Doctor Who coming back to do this audio drama for us, guys. It just was very exciting, wasn't it? When you saw these pictures, terrible pictures, by the way. It was awful pictures.
What on earth is Liz Sladen wearing?
I have no idea.
Yes.
God
bless her.
All the colours, it's colourful. She's obviously off golfing.
It's a dress rehearsal for Dimensions in Time, I think, that she's wearing there, definitely.
I don't know who that TARDIS prop belonged to, because it wasn't one off the series, was it?
Yeah, it was one of the BBC's.
Was it? It just looked all wrong.
Well, because by this point it had been thrown about in the alleys of the BBC, left, right, and centre. Nobody cared for it at all. There were actually a couple, and this was one of them. This was one of the ones that was on the wheels as well. So this was literally wheeled out, but it was an absolute mess. Absolute mess. It was used later on for much later on when they announced Scream of the Salka.
Oh,
much later. Yeah. More of that in another show. Anyway, what was I going to say? Where am I up to? Yes, so this is where we were going to this. We were excited about this. Doctor Who magazine at this point in June says Yentob listens but makes no promises. So this was an interesting... This is what I call a filler.
Yeah.
Actually, in the magazine. This is basically... I don't want to read this all out for you, but this is basically Alon Yentob saying, yes, he's very aware that fans want Doctor Who back, but he's not allowed to comment on it at all at this particular point.
And then later on he says, yes, we'll put some money into Dark Dimension, doesn't he? And then, we never got that.
Well, we didn't get that either. But isn't it weird that we knew that Alan Yentob was a sort of ally at this particular point, because we went to the July issue of Doctor Who magazine, and look what's the first headline in Gallifrey Guardian: Yentob's promise. As April's BBC Enterprises Doctor Who 30th anniversary launch, at the launch, BBC video boss Tony Greenwood reaffirmed Alan Yentob's promise that the door has not been closed on Doctor Who. Tony Greenwood also confirmed that BBC Video had been planning a drama special themselves and that a script had been written, although such a special now seems unlikely and certainly not to be ready for the year's November celebrations. Greenwood clearly wasn't ruling out the possibility of BBC Video doing something in the future. Not surprisingly, most of the questions from the national press concerned the return of the programme and whether or not the BBC was putting a new series together, basically. If there is anything concrete to be said, you'll see it first in Doctor Who magazine, says Doctor Who magazine. Now, the press really went to town on all this, of course. These sort of things were all over the place. This is from the Evening Standard. Now, do you remember these pictures, guys? Now, Peter Davison and Colin Baker have both said since. Now, this was a day where BBC Enterprises got John Pertwee and Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy and Peter Davison together, right? And gave them what we now know as mobile phones, but they were bloody big phones. The big astronomical analog original things. Yeah. And they got them together, and they had a press call. And the actors, I've got a better picture of it here. Look, they had the Daleks there, and they had the Cybermen there, from what I can remember. And the actors said later on that they were all there on the day, waiting for somebody from BBC Enterprises to say the show was coming back in some sort of form. So the four of them are there, not knowing quite why they're there, waiting for an announcement that never happened. Isn't that interesting?
It was just the same time they did a thing on TV called Entertainment Tonight with, was it Mike Smith and Sarah Green, who did a retrospective of the series 30th. Was that same sort of time, was it?
I think, it must have been. I think, a great little show that on Friday nights. I used to love that show. I aspired to try and get a job on that show. Never worked. But anyway, I'll do my apprenticeship for free. Anyway, I just love that show. Yes, this never happened. But again, it showed that the press were very aware, guys. The press were very aware of the fact that Doctor Who was 30 because it happened. Doctor Who in comeback, proclaimed the Daily Record, Doctor Who is dusting down his TARDIS. The BBC is bringing him back for a 90-minute one-off special celebrating the show's 30th anniversary. It is expected to be screened in November. It is hoped that all 5 surviving Doctor Who's, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy, will appear. So this is very strange. And this is where us as fans, do you remember the rumours that were going around, guys, at the time in '93 that, oh my God, this is happening. And when you see these little things, I mean, that is literally a piece that big in the Daily Record, blink and you miss it type thing. But August, the cover of Doctor Who magazine, August. So this would be in July. Look at the flash. Doctor Who is back. And it goes on inside in the Gallifrey Guardian to say the long wait is over. Now, who else remembers falling off their seat reading this?
Yeah.
I don't remember this at all. I'll probably put up the cover because Adric was on the front cover. That probably put me off, but I don't remember this at all.
Well, this article here says, as this issue of Doctor Who magazine went to press, BBC Video have confirmed that the proposed 30th anniversary video special, first mentioned in Doctor Who magazine 191, is now official, confirmed, and up and running. After nearly 5 years, Doctor Who fans will once again be able to see a new Doctor Who venture on their TV screens. It is not clear whether the programme will just be released on video, but it is being suggested that Alan Yentob, now the controller of BBC One, is very interested in the possibility of it transmitting on TV as near to the 30th anniversary in November as possible. Casting as yet unconfirmed, although rumours are already in circulation, and it is being hinted that The Adventure, which is a 90-minute TV film, will be directed by one of the show's most highly rated directors. We were then very, very cleverly from Doctor Who magazine said, this story continues elsewhere in the magazine. And they produced a page. They did a page of this, which was the page I think most of us ran to absolutely immediately. I know I did, guys. Back behind the sofa, proclaimed Doctor Who magazine. After over 4 years of silence and studio recording ended on Ghostlight, the news fans have patiently waited for was officially confirmed to Doctor Who magazine by the BBC in early June. Doctor Who is back in production at last. BBC Enterprises first broke the news to DWM in issue 195 when we exclusively reported that plans were afoot for a special drama for release around the 30th anniversary in November. BBC Video were hoping to eventually get the project off the ground, but after several months with no news, it looked as if the idea had fallen through. Then, in May this year, this is 1983, BBC Enterprises held a press conference in London to announce to the nation's media that 1993 was Doctor Who's 30th anniversary. The wave of interest this event sparked finally enabled BBC Enterprises to get the go-ahead to resurrect the world's longest-running science fiction series. Enter BBC TV, with BBC One now under the auspices of Who-friendly controller Alan Yentob. They too have added their weight to the project and have confirmed that the programme, rather than just being a video release, will be transmitted at the end of November, but probably not on the actual 23rd of November, as this will be budget day. So, what form will the first television Doctor Who of the 90s take? It is a 90-plus minute drama made entirely on location and shot on 16mm film. All five surviving Doctors have been asked to appear, but unlike previous anniversary adventures, the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, it seems unlikely that a story will be contrived to bring the 5 incarnations together. Instead, it seems that the script will give each Doctor their own storylines, culminating in a grand finale. The director contracted for the special, which has been the working title of The Dark Dimension, is Graham Harper. Harper has worked on Doctor Who many times before, initially as a production manager and latterly as the director of the 80s classics Caves of Androzani and the recent repeated Revelation of the Daleks. Harper is very enthusiastic about the script and told Doctor Who magazine that he was very excited to be working on the project. The script itself has been written by longtime Doctor Who enthusiast Adrian Rigglesford, whose Doctor Who The Monsters book was published by Virgin last year. Rigglesford previously co-wrote David Banks' Cybermen book for Who Dares Publishing, and Rigglesford says his story will put the children in bed and have the adults hiding behind the sofa. Doctor Who magazine understands that all the Doctors have shown an interest in the project, and a decision from them should have been made by the time the next issue of Doctor Who magazine hits the stands. Other actors reportedly involved in the project include Nicholas Courtney and Sophie Aldred, reprising their roles as the Brigadier and Ace, respectively. No other companions are currently in the storyline, but some vintage villains are mooted to be rearing their ugly heads. The special is a co-production between the BBC TV Drama Department and BBC Enterprises, with BBC Enterprises senior producer Penny Mills co-producing the programme alongside a producer from BBC Television. Every issue of Doctor Who magazine will be the only place to discover the latest official facts and news direct from the BBC as it happens. As Doctor Who tentatively enters its 4th decade, the next generation begins here.
I wonder how that will pan out.
Yes, I wonder. Yes. I do remember that picture of Adrian and Graham together. That picture really sticks in my memory. And I remember, wasn't some interviews with Adrian on some kind of like points of view type thing around them at the time or something like that?
There was a lot going on. I remember as well being in the industry at the time and seeing a cover for a non-BBC book written by Adrian involving Graham Harper, which would have been the making of the Dark Dimension. So obviously they were planning that as well. And it had that Clory reversion of the Cyberman.
Yeah, they were quite creepy, weren't they? Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, I want to point out that we are going to be doing another show to this, which will be 93 Part 3. And this will be the Dark Dimension and other stories. So keep an eye out here on the channel for that, because that's when we're really going to get into it. Because if you haven't got the script, you can find it because we've got it. And we're going to be looking at it. I think we've read it. It's bloody awful. But we're going to be looking at it more on that show as well. So this is just to let you know, we haven't done with the Dark Dimension yet. So this is the tip of the iceberg for us. But I do remember reading that in Doctor Who magazine and not liking the idea of it. I mean, it was just the fact it said it wasn't going to be similar to what we'd had in 3 or 5 Doctors. This was going to be each Doctor off on its own tangent and possibly a grand finale at the time. And I remember, what's the point? It was coming across already as incredibly complex and ambitious. I don't know what you guys remember.
Well, I won't say too much because we're going to review it maybe later on, but it got very convoluted, didn't it? And very complicated, and it was almost led by Tom, wasn't it, effectively? And all the other doctors weren't happy about that, but that's maybe another story for another time. But yeah, it didn't sound that great, I have to say. Yeah.
I thought it sounded very similar to the 5 Doctors, to be honest, because for the large part of that, apart from one meeting 5, the others had their own little journeys into the Dark Tower. And then met up at the end. So it didn't sound any different to me, to be honest.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, I think in a way, I thinking about it now, Ian's point, it does weirdly seem there is that weird similarity. I wasn't, I mean, at this stage, I wasn't getting DWM on a regular basis. I was sort of like, I was a bit more detached from fandom. And the thing that really caught in my imagination was the image of the sort of skeletal Cyberman, as Paul was saying. That looked fantastic. I thought, that'd be really, really cool. It's only in subsequent, and I must admit, I've always thought it was a real shame. We never got, a 90-minute special directed by Graham Harper. With Tom leading it. Sounds fantastic.
And Rick Mail, maybe, Yes.
Rick Mail is one of the villains. The villain of this thing was supposed to be called Hawkspur, by the way. That rings a bell with you all.
That rings a bell, yeah.
I mean, was he meant to be sort of like a Scratchman type figure, or
not really? It comes across as in the script we have. It comes across as just very Brian Blessed in my book.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
It's hard not to talk about it. We're going to do it later, but it did seem a bit fan wanky, a bit, didn't it? A bit kind of not for us, but not for the not we. So that I think the obviously goes straight to video, we'd buy it, but the general public wouldn't necessarily tune into it and understand it because it was very convoluted, wasn't it?
Exactly. I mean, one of the things as well, and we'll put this in at this particular point, everybody in the chat. It's nice to see you all. Thanks for joining us as we walked down memory lane. 1993. The whole thing about this Doctor Who film, it really inspired the press, because the press had actually been mooting a movie for years. We talked about it in one of our last Wilderness shows, the Coast to Coast deal, and all this sort of stuff, the Greenlight Productions, and it had gone right up to 1993, the beginning of the year in 1993. There's going to be a Doctor Who movie. There's going to be a Doctor Who movie. So they loved this thing where, the BBC suddenly announced the Doctor mention. I want to, at this point, though, as we broadcast live to you on the 26th of August 2026, one of the names that was always associated with any possible Doctor Who movie was, of course, the legendary Tim Curry, who today we lost. He passed away today. And I thought it would be nice for us just to praise Tim Curry in this particular edition, because even in 1993, I remember thinking he'd be really good in a Doctor Who film. And it was always Tim Curry leading it, wasn't it? So the press must have been a little bit disappointed in a sense by thinking, oh, there's a Doctor Who thing coming along. Oh, and it's the actors that were in the television show. Because they had really been pushing this idea of Tim Curry, amongst others, doing a movie, hadn't they, guys? But this news today, everybody, what a week it's been for various reasons when it comes to people passing on. But Tim Curry, of course, born in England, in Warrington, I think it was, wasn't it, guys?
I think so, yeah.
Somewhere around, it was the northwest of England anyway. He was born on the 19th of April, 1946, and went on to a massive, massive acting career, taking in generations as well. But, of course, the majority of us knows for his incredible role in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Which really cemented him, I think. But he did so much, didn't he, Paul? He was just completely. I mean, the other one, of course, the chilling performance as Pennywise.
Oh yeah.
Magnificent.
Superb actor, and great comic timing as well. I mean, he's made. What was that? The murder mystery film he's in? I forgot what it's called now. The one
Cluedo.
Cluedo, and
one of my favourites.
Yeah, fantastic in that. Yeah.
His role in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Bringing him to a new generation of kids who instantly took a dislike to him. What a talented man he was.
He'd not been well for a while, hadn't he? Because he had a stroke, didn't he, a few years ago, and he wasn't too well. But great actor, a great loss. Yeah.
When you look at his credits, as I'm doing now, it's you all know, it's too much to read out. The guy was everywhere. He did so much. And my goodness, what an amazing talent he was. But I wanted to put that in because even in 1993, the legend that was and is Tim Curry was still associated with becoming the Doctor. What can you say? I'm going to say the word again, a true legend. And
well, that's fair.
One of those,
It's a fair comment. He absolutely was.
It's one of those talents, Ian, that we will never see the likes of again.
No.
I think he was probably too big for Doctor Who, to be fair, but he would have been a great Doctor. He'd have that kind of Tom charisma, I think, without a doubt.
Absolutely, and I think he may have just have done it.
Yeah, he may have done it. Yeah.
Or possibly Tim Curry as the Master.
Yeah. Well, he had the beard in that photograph. So you have to waste it. Yeah.
But he had such relish in being a villain. He enjoyed it, and people enjoyed him enjoying it. I mean, I think he plays in one of the Four Musketeers films.
Yes,
he plays Richelieu, I believe, or is it Mazarin? He basically plays a baddie, but he plays a villain with such aplomb and fantastic. I mean, as Pennywise, he's absolutely chilling.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of me.
Oh yeah.
Mind you, it scared the hell out of me with Rocky Horror as well. No, that's.
Was he on Broadway? Was he on Broadway with the Rocky Horror?
I think he was. I mean, he did so much; it's hard to keep up with what he did.
Was that why he was? Because it started out as a show on Broadway and went to film.
Well, the Rocky Horror Picture Show came well after the theatre show, and because it's a cult to this day. Ahead of its time. But
it was a play, then it was a film, wasn't it? And then
it went back to being plays and stuff like that. And it's been done countless times as plays, television, movies, and all sorts. Now they seem to water it down every single time. The best one for me is him. Tim Curry, superb. You mentioned Cluedo, one of my favorite films. I love it because of him. He was. You mentioned it, Paul. His comic timing was. I could understand why the press were always gravitating towards Tim Curry as the Doctor in a movie version because he had that star power. People would have gone to see him as the Doctor in a movie, even in 1993.
Like I said, he's got that Tom
ability.
quirkiness. He really has, and that's perfect for the Doctor. You know, I mean, that's what you need. You know, but
yeah, it wasn't to be, but I thought it was right as the geeks that we all are on this very sad day that we mention him. 80 years old, boys and girls. God bless him.
Yeah,
God bless him. Tim Curry. Lex has given us a super chat. Thank you, Lex. Was Tom Baker going to play an old, frail Doctor? I might be wrong. Tim Curry would be great as the Master, and he was actually born in Warrington, May. Was Tom Baker going to play an old, frail Doctor? No. The whole point of the Doctor mention, as we now know, was that Tom's Doctor was going to be locked in some sort of... This villain had altered the timelines of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And the fourth Doctor didn't regenerate in Logopolis, like we know, because the timeline had been altered at that particular point. It's a very... as Paul's saying that, it's a very fan-intended script. It's worse than one of the New Adventures in my eyes. It wouldn't have worked. And what happens is the fourth Doctor encounters Ace, and who's at this point called Dorothy McShane, because she hasn't met the Doctor and she hasn't been down that timeline. The Brigadier knows the fourth Doctor, of course, but Tom would have been playing the Doctor as Tom looked then. No wig or anything like that. It was looked then, which was the grey-haired gentleman, basically. We'll go more into it in depth. When we look at the Doctor mention and other stories in that show that's coming up for you.
I was just going to say the thing about it was at this time, wasn't it, that the BBC had this perception that Tom was the Doctor, and anything after him wasn't that great. You know what I mean? And that's why they pushed him. I think that was the kind of thinking behind that a little bit, wasn't it?
Totally. I mean, don't forget as well that we had, when Phil Siegel came on the show to talk about the 1996 thing, the BBC had said to him and others that they wanted Tom as the Doctor that regeneration to McGann. And this was happening in 93. They weren't that keen on the 80s Doctor because what was perceived, and bear in mind where we are now. What was perceived is that the 80s Doctor Who's, nothing to do with the actors, but the 80s Doctor Who, from the end of Tom onwards to the end of Sylvester, was not popular with the British public. The ratings would say, as we know from our reviews, would say something different. But BBC Enterprises perceived that anything from Doctor 5 onwards was not popular and could therefore be written off.
Yeah. That's the way we're thinking at the moment, going back to going back to Capaldi. You know,
isn't it strange through our Wilderness Years shows and what we how things could come around and how things could happen again? My only argument there, as I say in headlines on a Sunday, is now BBC Studios is so invested in that area that's just been massively successful. I don't think they would dare to do that.
Yeah.
But the point is, they could, because it was mooted before twice.
Yeah.
So the Dark Dimension was, again, from a BBC Enterprise point of view, about Tom, the most popular Doctor Who. Even to this day, I'm going to add, the most popular Doctor Who. Now that, of course, was not received very well by a certain Mr. John Pertwee. It was also
served him right for bragging about Paradise or Death, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Can I just say hello to Hartnell's Ghost, who's there with us saying, evening all. One memory I have is of suddenly seeing Doctor Who, like 9.99 VHS from BBV that I knew nothing about. I bought The Stranger featuring Colin Baker. Stranger was the other things that were coming through, wasn't it? Yeah, that's how the BBC Enterprise also knew there was an audience on video for the Doctor Who players, you know? Steve Braddock is saying, oh, yes, the huge disappointment of the Dark Dimension. But we got Terror of the Autons and the Demons in Colour on VHS. Always a bright side, isn't there?
Yeah.
Funky reminding me that in 1993, and you're quite right, as part of the merchandise, there was the TARDIS video cabinet as well.
Of course, yes.
Now, I did have a picture of that, but I forgot to load it up. But I got the advert for it.
I thought you'd have one, JT.
I played with the idea, Ian, and then I did the maths because I was that ridiculous. Because I thought, I'm paying for this, and you can only get the videos that they've only just released and then some in, which means you had to buy two. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that. Because you could tell where you were in the video range and how many were still to come of 26 years of time travel. And that one TARDIS cabinet was not going to be enough. A friend of mine had it, and I remember thinking, I'm glad I didn't buy this, because it looked a bit like the TARDIS Playhouse tent from 1983.
Well, you had to have the tent for the extension for the rest of the videos, didn't you? To be honest, yeah, like
I've got the tent. Well, I've got the 10s.
I always like the TARDIS standee thing they had in the bookshops. You know, you'd have a cutout. There was a cutout TARDIS standee. Well,
I think there were a
Maybe I'm
couple of them. They had
hallucinating.
Dalek ones as well. They came from
Yeah.
WHR, I think, a lot of the time. Yeah, or Virgin as it became. Sorry. Yeah. Remember those? And they tried it again as well in '96. Patrick Hartnell, 1963, is with us in the chat. Hello, mate. How are you? In the J&T diaries, he said he was trying to get a straight-to-video production going for a year by then, with him producing it, and was miffed when he heard Enterprises were going ahead with one. I'm coming to that. And J&T turned down role as advisor and soon left BBC Video, where he tried to get it done. Now, yeah, this is true. Nathan Turner knew that the 30th anniversary was coming up, gentlemen. And as early as 1991, had started mooting to Enterprises that a couple of years' time is a big event. We need to do something. Why don't we do a TV movie? Why don't we do a straight-to-video thing? You know. And I think that's where the idea may have possibly come in, and then was reformed in 1992 as part of the whole thing, and then really picked up in '93. By that point, of course, Nathan Turner had left. He had gone. He'd had enough. I mean, these things in the midst of time, it's all there, isn't it? You know, you just think, oh, amazing, really. Farsight, if only they'd made the Doctor mention the Cybermen looked amazing. I wonder have you read the script? Have you read the script for it, mate? Very interesting. And that making of book that I mentioned before never appeared for various reasons, I would imagine.
Going back to J&T just briefly, can really see even then he was still planning ahead, thinking about, you know, what's coming next, you know, like he did with the 20th. You know, he really had his eye on the ball, you know, and looked for possibilities, you know, like with Shada prior to this as well, you know. So he really thought about things, didn't he?
But I think with the BBC, oh my word.
Oh, lovely, yes, yeah.
You'd have to take the back off and make it deeper, wouldn't you? But then you wouldn't see the ones
bigger on the
behind.
inside, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah.
I worked out, Ian, that you would have to buy two, put them back to back, and screw them together.
Yeah, and then put
That's
them on a
just
little
me.
wheel so you could spin it round when you wanted the ones at the other side.
Yeah, and can I show you as well?
Problem solved.
The lovely thing about that as well, if I can show you, there's the anniversary logo, designing everything. Look at that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice,
lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
See? So if you
Can I
still
just
got
say,
one,
JT, as well? I really am sorry. I've just got to. Can I just say we have a first-time viewer, a friend of mine and colleague called Amy.
oh, fab.
Has just told me that she's watching. So
Is she in
I
the
want
chat?
to say hello to Amy. She's a very cheeky person, but she's also very nice. And
We
Amy-
love a cheeky Amy.
Yeah, welcome if you're cheeky. Yeah, definitely.
Hello.
How
Hi, Amy. Hello.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I also want to say happy birthday for tomorrow to Steve Andrews, who's 58 tomorrow. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Steve. Yeah.
I'm glad you put that in chat. I've just seen that. So happy birthday to you, mate. Well, you know, have a lovely day. Have some cake. Killbot is with us as well. Nice to see you, pal. And Steve Braddock saying to us, yes, Tim Curry would have given would have made a great Doctor. And we lost Dolly Parton. Can't talk about that at the moment. Too upset about that. More about that on Sunday's show with Dolly. Okay, because that one's hit. What else have we got here? Yeah, Julianne saying to us, Tim Curry was fantastic in everything. Absolutely. A lot of appreciation for you, of course, from you in the chat to Tim Curry, which is incredible, but expected. Avon saying he was fantastic in Rocky Horror. Funky. Tim Curry basically created the character of Frankenfurter. He bloody did.
Yeah.
Every interpretation I have seen has been a sort of copy of what he did.
Based on him,
Sometimes
yeah.
even down to the infliction of the delivery. Oh, Rocky! You know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing. He had such an impact. And I've seen from my
Do
fair
you
share.
think that the fact that because the stage show came first, when they made the film, because sometimes they have a habit of recasting, don't they? The fact that they kept him is the thing that guaranteed its longevity afterwards, because it went mainstream with that, didn't it?
Oh, totally. And because he was so OTT deliberately,
Yeah.
he really went for it. Because people went to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show that, of course, never seen the theatre, because two different audiences. Even still today, some people will go to the cinema, will go to the theatre, vice versa.
Yeah.
But Tim Curry was so there. That's why I was always thinking, and in hindsight, he would have made a great Doctor.
I love the fact that Nick Courtney did the narrator at one point in his career, didn't he? So yeah,
He did. Yeah. PVFS, hello, lovely. How are you? Someone has animated the Dark Dimension on their channel on here. Well, if you can find it, have a look at it. Because as I say, we are going to be reviewing, or we're going to be discussing it, more.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, animation's taking it too far. I think a bit of a.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've not seen it, so I'll take your word for it. But having read the script, that's quite enough for me. Yeah, we now know with hindsight, of course, what was happening with the with this script and this entire project of the Dark Dimension wasn't to go anywhere, because having just had this in August from Doctor Who magazine, well, you won't believe it. Well, yes, you will, because in September it says the BBC cancelled the Dark Dimension. So this is the this. Look at that picture of Colin and Nicola, by the way, on the right.
Oh, nice.
Bless them.
Aren't they? Bless them indeed. Look at them. Yes, so the BBC cancelled the Dark Dimension, turn to page 39. So let's turn to page 39. And this is the big story, the end of the Dark Dimension, everybody. Look at the whole page here. It's just text. You wouldn't get that now, would you? I'm going to read this to you. The BBC have once again let down the world's millions of Doctor Who fans with the announcement on Friday, July the 9th, that their plans to resurrect Doctor Who for a one-off 30th anniversary special have been scrapped. So at this point, again, looking at how Doctor Who magazine was back then, do you think they're a little bit peed off? The BBC have once again let down the world's millions of Doctor Who fans. I love that.
Well, they were so upbeat previously, weren't they? Now they're really disappointed, like we all were, probably. Yeah.
I know, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't think we had time basically to be disappointed, because one month they're saying it's go. The next month it's not go. It was just such a quick turnaround. You know?
As Doctor Who fans, we're used to disappointment, aren't we? This happened all the time, and this time it didn't really, to be honest.
I think it's right, and that's the other reason I wanted to briefly talk about the whole thing about the press that Tim Curry's going to be the Doctor and David Hasselhoff's going to be the Doctor and Basil Brush is going to be the Doctor in the new film and all that sort of stuff. Because here we were again, and it wasn't, I don't know about you guys, but from my point of view, this particular news was all in a day. It's another one of those things. It looked good, and then it was taken away, and nothing had happened.
Too good to be true, isn't it, really? That's the kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
That sort of stuff, yeah. That's why there was a hell of a lot of us in 2004 that were going, yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Seen it, bought the T-shirt. Yeah,
exactly. But this article was huge. So let's get into this. The show's anniversary year, which began in the spirit of hopeful expectation, has been marred by bitter disappointment, unrivaled since the show was cancelled in 1989. The shock move, condemned by many as surprising in light of the BBC's advanced plans, quashes all hopes of seeing a production which many regarded as the last throw of the dice for Doctor Who. Adrian Rigglesford, the co-author of a script which had been attempting to get off the ground for nearly 2 years, told Doctor Who magazine that, "I am deeply disappointed." The production, which would have been BBC Enterprise's opportunity to make broadcasting history with a television milestone, already had a contracted director in the shape of the highly respected Graham Harper. He is resigned to defeat and told us we gave it our best shot. The statement announcing the cancellation of the project was made by David Jackson, a senior producer at BBC Video, who told us that, due to the constrictions of our budget and the time available, the production has been cancelled. When asked if it was possible to remount the show at a later date, Jackson claimed that this was very unlikely. He added that he was bitterly disappointed by the decision. The feature-length story, which was a co-production between BBC Enterprises and BBC TV, was helmed by Penny Mills as co-producer from BBC Enterprises, while former BBC head of series and serials Peter Cregeen was contracted as the BBC producer. Remember that name?
I do remember that name, yeah. God blimey. Didn't we write to him? Wasn't he not the recipient of one of the writing campaigns?
Yes.
Yeah.
And here he was, contracted as the BBC producer for this Doctor Who project. Director Graham Harper's plans were well advanced, and shooting should have begun by the time this issue of Doctor Who magazine was in the shops. Harper, one of the country's top television directors, was so enthusiastic about the project that he relinquished his directorial responsibilities on the new series of the BBC's highly acclaimed House of Elliot drama series for the chance to reshape Doctor Who for the 90s. Adrian Rigglesford and Joe McCall's script, entitled Dark Dimension, featured roles for all 5 of the surviving Doctors. Although none of them had been contracted, it looked likely that Tom Baker would shortly confirm this his involvement alongside Nicholas Courtney and Sophie Aldred. Colin Baker, who initially expressed reservations about the story, told Doctor Who magazine the loss of the programme was an opportunity missed. At least one other previous companion was also being considered for a cameo appearance by the writing team, but no details were officially revealed. Recent additions to the production team had included Nick Jagels as production associate. Jagels, along with the Rigglesford, Harper Anna producer Alan Johns, were the guiding force behind the independent production company Dark Light, who recently bid for the rights to produce a new series of Doctor Who. Johns now works in the United States. The production designer for the Doctor mentioned would have been BBC Birmingham-based Nigel Jones, who previously worked on the 1981 Doctor Who spin-off K9 and Company. Hurrah! Tony Harding, another old hand at Doctor Who, was destined to look after visual effects, and Kevin Van Thompson, who worked on Mind Warp, amongst other stories, was Harper's first assistant director. The story's music had yet to be contracted out, but apparently frontrunners included Mark Russell and Alan Hawkshaw. Alan has previously worked on The New Statesman with Graham Harper, and amongst his numerous credits accounts a spell in the pop group The Shadows. Despite the involvement of a new musician, it was likely that the show's title music would have been the traditional version used during the John Pertwee and Tom Baker eras. The title sequence itself remained undecided, but Kevin Davis, who produced BBC Video's recent The Making of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, was a likely candidate for devising something new. He told us the cancellation meant a lifetime's ambition had been temporarily shelved. The reaction of the press, who had been so supportive of the BBC's plans to return the show, were predictably savage in condemning the BBC's U-turn. As we went to press, speculation was rife over the future of Doctor Who. Many fans and members of the television industry saw the anniversary year as the ideal opportunity to relaunch the show. It's sad, really, in a way. One national journalist told Doctor Who magazine, the BBC have lost out on a lot of publicity and goodwill by pulling out of Doctor Who this late in the game. Should there be any hint of another return of the programme, I'd imagine a lot of the papers would be foolish to swallow the bait again. Steve Wickham, the coordinator of the Doctor Who Appreciation Day, told us, this is very disappointing news. We'd hoped this could have been a new start, but it's now fallen apart. I hope this doesn't mean the death of the programme. So do we, ends Doctor Who magazine.
Tom Baker did well of it, didn't he?
Allegedly, he got paid.
Allegedly, yeah.
Nice work if you can get it, eh?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, in a way, it's strange to think that, okay, this would have been disappointing to a lot of people. I mean, partially the dodgy script, you know, it'd been an opportunity to see Doctor Who again. And yet, you know, over just a little over 3 years later, it's back again. It's back with McGann. You know, it's not that long. It shows that there was still a momentum behind the program, behind this.
It was that momentum, as we know, that stopped Dark Dimension, though, wasn't it? That was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I mean, it came and went like a summer cloud, as the Fifth Doctor once said, and that was the end of that. But we still had the radio drama, which became the Paradise of Death to look forward to. We had the convention on the way. But
the loss of the telly thing did feel crushing, didn't it? It was. Yeah. You really were. And I know we got on board with it when they announced him again, because that travelled very quickly, and then you start seeing him in costume and you think, yeah, shit, this is real. But with that one, we really got on board with it, and it did feel like you'd had your feet kicked under you and kicked from under you, and it was typical BBC. Yeah,
it was.
And you're right with Doctor Who magazine, the fact that they were very, very clearly of us. You know, they were speaking up for what we felt, whereas now they'd be simping for the BBC and justifying exactly why we didn't deserve it and we're all crap.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, really.
It is actually weird, the difference in tone, thinking of sort of like what the magazine's been like for the last 10 years now.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And this, it reminds me of something you said earlier, JC, about sort of BBC Enterprises were doing this for the money. And in a way, that's no bad thing, because the money is where the fans are. The money is actually providing something we want as fans. And it's now like the BBC sees its role not as providing something we want, but something it thinks we need.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, actually. It was a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fandom, as I've often said during the wilderness years, was together and without the internet.
Yeah.
we didn't have all the big fallings out. We didn't have politics being shoved at us. So that wasn't causing any falling out. We didn't have any fans that were really, 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 I don't want to know them, like we do today. We're not splintered like we are today because of what's happened and this is what we always feared about any new show that was coming along, that it would take Doctor Who into certain areas that would harm the fandom. That, in my opinion, that's come true. That's happened. Back in 1993, though, Bill Bagg stepped up when he announced shortly afterwards the Air Zone solution as an independent drama, which starred Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, Nicola Bryant, with a special appearance by John Pertwee. The blurb for that went, "The dawn of a new age or the beginning of a nightmare." The story is only available on video. It was priced £16, including the postage and packaging, and you could send a check or postal order to a particular address, and you would get the Air Zone solution coming through. Anybody remember that one?
I remember that. Alan Cummings was in it as well, wasn't he?
Was he? I can't remember that.
An early part of his career. I remember he got accosted by a Doctor Who fan in Edinburgh, and the fan was told to get to Falkirk or what's that?
Nothing changes there, then,
Yeah.
I bought the Air Zone solution. I had a copy of it at one point.
So did I. I think I got a copy in the loft, actually.
I think I've still got the cover. I don't have the actual VHS, but I could never quite get beyond seeing what for me was the Doctor and Perry getting a little bit intimate.
I do remember that. I didn't like that. Now, for those of you that don't know, these dramas from Bill were supposed to be nothing to do with Doctor Who. They just happened to have the actors from Doctor Who in it. Fine, it was absolutely fine. But again, they were supposed to be adult type dramas, weren't they? Really, they were supposed to be more. Now, this was apparently an environmental. I don't think I've ever seen it. I may have done, just forgotten. I certainly haven't owned it.
I have seen it, but I can't remember a bloody thing about it. That's how good it was. Yeah.
I'm going to have to find it, though, at some point, because at some point we want to review, as part of our Wilderness Years shows, boys and girls, we want to review some of these independent productions. I do know that Downtime is available on Amazon Prime. So you never know. The Air Zone solution might appear on there. I would imagine because it was environmental, it's very now, actually.
Or very then,
Or very then, So that was
a very
something.
odd solution, wasn't it? If I know it's spoilers, but it was a very odd solution. Whereas nowadays it'd be like, no oil, no gas, use windmills or use candles kind of thing, and a hand crank generator. Whereas then it was just like the atmosphere is getting polluted, put a great big grill in your throat, and I think that was a solution to it. And it was bizarre. It really was bizarre.
You've watched it more than once, haven't you? And you must have done a bloody thing about that.
In it. Come on. But it was playing a character called Trefui or something. Really silly.
Really?
But one of the four Doctor actors carked it right at the start, didn't it? Was it Davison?
It might have been. I also can't remember. I need to watch it again, unfortunately.
Kept appearing as a ghost to Colin Baker, I think.
Yeah.
Really.
I do remember Colin and Nicola being in bed together. That was quite scary. I remember that.
I didn't watch it. I probably won't. Sorry.
No, that's fair enough.
It's not Doctor Who. It's not Doctor Who.
It's not Doctor Who. It was something completely different. Just happened to have some of those actors in it. Lots was going on though.
Walking in on your parents, it's like
it's kind of exactly like that. But extremely scarring. Yes. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, I don't know. Stephen Braddock, thank you for your Jules here. He's got the laughing disco there. Very appropriate. Thank you very much for that, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, oh yes. Here we go. Steve Andrews saying to us, Downtime is on Rakuten Television. I have it on download. Okay, there we go. A lot of you, Mark is with us, cool and dry, saying I had a bootleg copy and I recorded over it.
Probably improved it no end.
Yes.
Funky is saying to you, Ian, please don't mention the Colin and Nicola love scene. Yeah.
Scene.
There's a similar bit in the Stranger video, isn't there, with Ace and Colin as well as the Stranger. They have a similar erotic bit in that as well. Yeah.
Axes.
Yeah. There's no shame at all. No.
He was enjoying every minute. John, the computer doctor, saying I was one of the investors, £100, I think, and I still have to sign VHS. Good to know, John. Thank you very much. We'll have to be careful when we review it then. Well, not review it, but talk about it. And we've got Julianne saying the air zone solution. I've still got it in the loft. There you go. So some of you still have it out there. That's good to know. Steve Andrews said, yes, I had it as well. And Richard Brooks is saying to us that the Dark Dimension was dead and died because of 2 words, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Not far wrong. We now know, of course, that it was Phil.
Yeah.
And I actually thank him, having read the script. I don't think it would have worked. I think it would have caused a lot of problems in Doctor Who fandom.
Well, I thank them as well because we got Dimensions of Time in the end, so I can't thank them enough. Yeah.
But the thing is, I think it would have caused a lot of problems because we would have wanted something cozy. We would have wanted something like the 3 Doctors, like the 5 Doctors, and that's not what they were giving us. They were giving us actually, in a sense, a possible launch for a completely different series coming along in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Really. And I think it would have been a way of saying 5, 6, and 7 are alternative.
I think probably, regardless of what came from it, whether it was Dark Dimension or not, or what the script was, you may have got a series of straight-to-video movies or whatever instead of a TV show, because it would have been a cheaper option for them in the end, I think, probably,
Tim Curry says Lex came for a super chat. Thanks, Lex. Was nearly the voice of the Joker in the 1990s Batman animated series. He did the voice of the Emperor in Series 5 of Star Wars, Clone Wars. Yes, so I hear. I think, and apparently he was very, very good in it as well. Apparently people really liked his interpretation of that. So thanks for that, Lex. God bless him. Thank you very much. And Miles D is saying to us, why did the Cybermen's guns go back to the green laser fire in Dimensions in Time, yet in Silver Nemesis there was no green effect put on? I've often stayed awake at night wondering about that.
Ask me that question on Monday and we'll answer it.
Dimensions isn't canon, so it doesn't count. It's not continuity.
It doesn't count, really, no.
Well, we'll have to see about that, yeah. So
I think it's down, Miles, to grabbing what effects they possibly could because of the fact that everybody was doing Dimensions in Time for nothing. And we do have to mention it now at this point. God help us, because what we did get, of course, was, as we all know, for Children in Need, a charity skit arranged by John Nathan Turner, basically picking up the phone from the Black Book and asking people if they do this thing for free. And they did. And what we got, of course, was Dimensions in Time, filmed very quickly, I have to say, on the cheap, with everything they possibly had in storage thrown into this thing, between Greenwich in southeast London and the Albert Square backlot set over at BBC Elstree. Here's Colin looking very fetching, though, in his lovely 3D glasses.
he suits short hair as the Doctor, I think, like that. It looks quite good. Yeah,
it does, yeah. We do have to thank this particular point as well, of course, everybody, because what Dimensions in Time did was it brought the Doctor back, which, of course, the Dark Dimension didn't achieve. And what it gave us was now, I'm going to say it again, the now incredibly sought after Radio Times 30th anniversary cover. Amazing cover as well when you think about it, gentlemen. I mean, look at this.
It's like early Photoshop. They've obviously cut each of the Doctors out and stuck them on the picture, haven't they? Yeah.
Absolutely. However, we do know that 3 of the actors were able to meet up for the photo shoot.
Yeah.
There. Peter was doing something else, and Tom is Tom.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, some nice pictures came out of it.
That's a lovely one. I like that one. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was good to get the Doctor back on the cover for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was coming at this point, of course. There's Andrew there on the right, look, playing a Time Lord. Look, he's also in
Beach,
Time.
Yeah.
Look, a young Mr. Beach there, everybody. Of course, Dimensions in Time brought together as many people as it possibly could from the series. We're going to be looking at more in our 1993 Part 2 show, which is on Monday at 8 o'clock here in the channel, as we review, finally, says Paul, Dimensions in Time.
At last. Yeah.
3 years it's taken him.
3 years. I mean, trying and nagging you constantly. Yeah. Yeah.
God, Case O'Mara.
But this all happened in 93 over 2 nights and achieved incredible ratings. But more of that, as I say, when we review Dimensions in Time Monday night here on the channel. I can't wait.
Liar.
Oh,
Blessed. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Greenwich. Goodness me. So we got that. We got that, and we got Paradise and Death. There were lots of other publications at the time as well, including this from Doctor Who magazine, who recreated the legendary Radio Times 10th anniversary special and brought it bang up to date with the Sylvester McCoy version. As you can see, Sylvester McCoy, a Tetrap, a Cyberman, and a Dalek, and the Doctor Who 30th anniversary logo in an actual sandpit just outside.
It's not as iconic as the Pertwee one. It's a lovely attempt, though, isn't it? It's nice. Yeah.
It's amazing how many times it's been tried, though, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah. It's lovely, though. I like that. Yeah.
And it was nice of Marvel Comics to do it, Panini to do it. So good for them. We also had this Doctor Who time frame, the illustrated history from David J. Howe appeared.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it wasn't another Peter Haining. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
He'd run out of ideas, I think, couldn't he? Yeah.
I think he must have been dropped by W.H. Allen at this point.
He was a very Terry Nation of the book world, wasn't he, to be honest? We've done this before, Peter, yeah.
How many times can you bring out the celebration? Oh, about 12.
Yeah.
Watch me. You know? When it got to 25 glorious years, that's when I thought I'm being had here a little bit, really. You know, but that
was
was
a different cover. Yeah.
Yeah. Other things you could get at this particular point was this, the Doctor Who chess set, which now goes for a fortune, boys and girls.
Yeah, my mate's got that. Yeah.
Oh, I saw it once in a museum, believe it or not. I think it was Mommy. You know, towards the end of the end of the century, and I think it was the Museum of Movement Image, and I think it was in there. It was definitely because it was behind glass, and it was so beautifully done and very intricate.
The chess pieces are beautiful. They really are. Yeah.
So if you've got that, again, if you have that, treasure it because it's worth a fortune. It's all pewter as well.
Yeah.
Probably a rule about that this day and age, about not using pewter or something, to be quite honest, everybody.
No doubt.
There was something else that came along in 1993 as well. And I remember being thrilled at this particular point of it.
Oh, yes. God.
Yeah. 30 Years in the TARDIS. Wonderful documentary. Yeah.
And little did we know that this little scene of Josh walking into the police box would set the precedent for what was to come a few years later, where you actually saw the console room from the police box doors. I remember the thrill at this point, guys, seeing this on 30 Years in the TARDIS that night on BBC One. I was so excited about this, but I got so many little tingles thinking, why isn't the show on the air? Why isn't the show on the air? Because they've gone to the lengths.
It was that lovely music they had as well. That sequence was beautifully matched to the action. It was really nice.
And there's Fraser in the jacket we mentioned at the top of the show.
I love that recreation of the Scarborough set. That is wonderful as well.
That's what made me think. I mean, I just want to point out, you can't really see her there, but that's Debbie Watling, of course. God love her.
Yeah. God bless her.
God bless Debbie. What a laugh she was.
But that scene there is incredible, isn't it? For the length of time that it appeared on screen, which was virtually zero.
And filmed properly, so you couldn't see that it was very small. But this is what was getting me at the time, guys. I'm looking at these things from 30 Years in the TARDIS thinking, why isn't this back on air? They can do it. They can do it.
Yeah.
You know, this was BBC One, for those of you who don't know. Of course, it appeared the year after as an extended version of VHS called More Than 30 Years of the TARDIS, which you can still get on BBC DVD. It's out there.
I remember this documentary was it's one of those kind of moments in Doctor Who history that really kind of hit the spot. There's so many wonderful things in this. If you remember the Farnborough Air Show clips with Hartnell, the air show and stuff like that, was really amazing stuff. And you hadn't had all this lovely DVD documentary we have now, but it kind of topped Who's Doctor Who for me, because that was a fantastic documentary then back in the 70s, but this is my favorite Who documentary of all time. It's superb.
It's
More than
absolutely
30 is
gorgeous.
even better, but yeah, this is really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, really good.
I have
I
to say,
agree.
I rewatched it recently for the research for this particular show, and was moved
Yeah.
because you forget who's in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Verity Lambert talking to us on this, of course. Debbie Watling's in there, Nick's in there, Liz is in there.
Mm.
I mean,
God.
it's a gem. It was an
Yeah.
absolute gem. And it's at this point that I need to remind myself to ask you in the chat to let us know, either through the chats here, the live chats now, or in the comments if you're watching us back, should we review 30 Years in the TARDIS? Because I watched it and just thought, this is part of our Wilderness Years series. Should we all watch it?
Yeah.
Should we come back and chat about it and relive that? Incredible.
Can we review the DVD version as well? More than, 'cause
Yeah,
that's
more
even
than.
better.
Yeah,
That's
I think that would be a good one to do.
I think so.
That's
I
a
mean,
really
if
good
you
idea.
if you think in the chat, if you think it's a good idea, then let's come back and, as part of the Wilderness Years, let's look at it, because it was when I was watching it, gentlemen, I just forgotten. I don't know. Things you take for granted. I had forgotten. Oh my God, there's such and such, and this. Oh my God. I was really moved, and I just thought, this is insane. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
The contributions from Barry Letts, from Terrence Dix,
Yeah.
really excellent. I mean, apart also from, you know, the lovely visual, the beautiful jump cut with the little boy, you know, playing on the way home, sneaking around the corner, and the double take with the post box,
Yeah.
and the Dalek.
Great intro.
Fantastic.
It
Fantastic.
also, quite rightly, celebrated the Daleks and the Dalek films.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
That's
Yeah.
Jessica Carney, isn't it? And Debbie.
Jessica
and,
Carney, William
yeah.
Hartnell's granddaughter, his real
Yeah.
granddaughter,
Yeah.
and the cast, of course, from Doctor Who and the Daleks in it.
Yeah.
You know,
One take
People-
Tovey.
people long gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you remember that night? I was so excited of the week of that transmission, everybody. I don't know about you guys, but I was so excited. They'd done a build up to it. We knew it was coming. I was just like, oh my God. And it's probably the only bit of 90s television I actually remember watching, apart from the TV movie, watching on the night and loving every single one of it, every minute of it, because I had two friends that came around to mine to watch it as well. And we were so excited about it. And it didn't disappoint. It was lovely.
One of my favourite bits is the bit with John in the Who-mobile surrounded by dinosaurs, superb, or dinosaur, superb. Yeah.
Hello, old girl.
Yeah. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, it was full of stuff, wasn't it? It was just incredible. Scotsman in
police-
New York. Nice to see you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that police box that we saw when they were setting up the scene with the camera going through the doors and everything when they were filming it. That police box is superb.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's the right dimensions. It's everything. And you just wonder if they could do that for a documentary in 1993. Why couldn't they get it right in 2005? It was just. It's not complicated, but they got it just right in the way that 2005 got it just wrong. Even when they changed it for Matt Smith, it still wasn't right that way.
Yeah. But it was things like, I remember for my sins, I do remember Dimensions in Time because it was shown on the Friday night before you went out, and it was shown on the Saturday night as part of Noel's house party before you went out. And I remember watching it. Oh, and by the way, when we come to review it on Monday, everybody, please have your 3D specs ready, because we will be in glorious 3D to review it. Yes, so you've got to have them.
Be careful what we wish for. Yeah.
But I remember thinking, and it was actually something that was spoken about after it, wasn't it? Really, at conventions where various people, Sylvester especially, would say they couldn't get, with all the money they had ready, they couldn't get the Dark Dimension off the ground. But all John Nathan Turner had to do was phone people up, and we did it for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it does say an awful lot, doesn't it? And then they managed to get that lovely documentary, 30 Years in the TARDIS, done as well.
Do you remember there was a radio documentary as well that Nick Courtney narrated?
Yes.
Which was an hour long. I think that was superb as well.
I've got it here on the shelf.
Yeah, really good.
On a cassette. On an old-fashioned cassette, everybody taped from the radio, which I don't know if you were allowed to do. I don't care. But I think it became. They may have you guys in the chat, did they ever put it on those Beyond? Sorry, Doctor Who at the BBC CDs.
I think it is on one of them. Yeah,
It's one of those. Yeah. Paul Schlefter is saying to us, guys, I've got the chess set in my lounge, but I can't display it because my cats will sit on it. Oof. That could be quite nasty, really. Yeah, you really. Yeah. Julianne is saying to us, he says, moving on. Time Frame is a lovely book. I still look at it to this day every now and then because it is. And Lex is saying about 30 Years in the TARDIS. It was a great documentary, an epic documentary. It's a good way to talk about it. Epic. It's true. Jason Parker, nice to see you, mate. Oh my God, the chess set at the time cost a mortgage, but beautiful pieces though. That's one of the reasons I didn't get it, because again, you had to do the math. Didn't you have to pay so much for each piece or something like that in the day?
Yeah, it was an individual thing.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous thing, wasn't it? Really, and just thought, hang on a minute, no, how much am I on a year? That's worth more than what I get paid. Funky is saying that Kevin Davis, who was the director, of course, of 30 Years in the TARDIS, knew how to get a shot. He bloody did. It was.
Yeah, well, he was a fan. Yeah, so yeah.
It was incredible, wasn't it? I've still got the More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS video, says Farsight. Yeah, great. Stephen O'Neill, 30 Years in the TARDIS was the special 50-minute television documentary. Absolutely wasn't. It was screened on Monday, the 29th of November. Thank you for that, mate.
It's the extended one, about an hour and a half, I think it might be. Yeah.
I think it is. It's about half an hour extra. There is a lot of people, guys, saying to us that we should have a review show about 30 Years in the TARDIS and More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS and even More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS, which I just made up. It sounds good. Actually, I'll write that down. That could be the name of the review show. But I think we'll look at that then as part of our Wilderness Years series, because as again, looking at it, I just thought this is beautiful. This is absolute. It's a real document of Doctor Who history. Just because of who's in it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Lots of favorite. I think it's a thumbs up from everybody in the chat, guys. So I think we're going to have to do it. We'll put it in the schedule for some point as part of our.
Team of War, She Woman, Me Doctor. That's it. Yeah.
Before The Rock really sets it. I mean, this is the other thing I'm talking about, and I hope these Wilderness Years shows are showing you this. This was a good time for Doctor Who, actually. Yes, it was mooted the show was coming back. Yes, there were actors put out to be a film Doctor. Yes, we came close an awful lot of times. Yes, we got some nonsense, but it was good. It was a good, and again, the arguments were not there because there was nothing to argue for. There were no egotistic producers pushing the show into areas they thought it should go, which could have happened with the Doctor mention. It could have happened with the TV movie in '96, but it didn't quite because it was a one night only thing.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It was a good time, and I don't think this time round is going to be as magical because of what's happened and the divisions and stuff. We're not united anymore.
No, we're not.
I missed a friend's engagement party to watch 30 Years in the TARDIS on the night of transmission. Julianne, good for you, girl.
That's a fan commitment, definitely.
That's what we want to hear. We are so proud of you. I mean, how many engagements has she had since then? Let's put it then. She had a second or third one or something like that. You can catch up with engagements, can't you, later on? Jason Parker saying one thing about the 30 years. Liz, bless her, still had the crazy lady hat and outfit like the awful 93 audio Doctor Who publicity outfits. Her wardrobe was laughing at her that year. Bless her. I love you, Liz. She was going through that sort of beret phase, wasn't she?
Yes. That's a bit exciting.
She had a very young Sadie appeared in that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She did. Yeah.
They were stalked in the house by a Sontaran, weren't they?
Yeah.
The bit I love is Jamie Anderson and Jerry Anderson on it as well. And Jerry complaining about the fat Doctor, the Daleks were bigger than Thunderbirds, which is great. Yeah.
We definitely have to do this, don't we? Grab your DVDs or grab your VHSs, guys. We'll let you know when we're going to do it. We're going to review 30 Years in the TARDIS and More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS. Absolutely. 30 Years was the best Doctor Who documentary before Adventures in Time and Space, says Stephen Braddock. I would say 30 Years in the TARDIS is the best one ever. Adventures in Time and Space, it's a drama. It's nice. It's okay. It's a copy from Coronation Street. It's a bit mushy, whereas 30 Years is a documentary. And nothing's touched it since, I think. Did we even get something like that in the 60th? I can't remember.
No, we didn't. No.
See? Nonsense. Doctor Who, the pewter chess set is going for over £1,000 on eBay, says Stephen O'Neill. Wow. I would expect it to be more, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. I loved all, says Stephen Braddock, the scary cliffhangers at the end of 30 years, especially Liz's glowing eyes. I remember that. I forgot about it when I rewatched it. Oh my God, look, they're going for it. I remember this. It was cliffhanger.
The bit with the Autons with Nick's very good as well. Yeah, that's
yeah, just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And Jess Corbin saying to us, "Oh, that sounds good to me, JT. 30 years. Oh, I'm going to need the tissues handy." Yeah, you have to prepare yourself because there's people in there that we love and we've lost.
Yeah,
but we have to prepare ourselves for it. But it's on the way. Yes, 1993 was a big year, a huge year, and we've only touched part of it, really. Monday night, I'm going to say it again. Can't believe we're doing it, actually, but you have to join us for our review of Dimensions in Time live here on the channel at 8 o'clock.
About bloody time, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, but don't worry, we will be including scores on the TARDIS doors for Dimensions in Time, which reminds me, I'm actually going to do it right now because I'm about to ask you all, panel, what you would rate out of 10 on the scores of the TARDIS doors for 1993.
Scores on the TARDIS doors. If you like this story, did you think it bores? Give your scores on the TARDIS doors.
So, just for fun, Third Doctor Ian, from what you can remember of 1993, how many out of 10 would you give that year?
Oh, wow, what a year. I mean, for me personally, it was my 20th year of watching Doctor Who because it's my earliest memory is from End of Frontier in 73. So this was 20 years for me. But what they put on there, it was fabulous. It was a wonderful year to be a Doctor Who fan. Without it on TV, it sounds unbelievable to say, but I can't do anything but give this a 10 out of 10. It was an amazing year. It really was. Good stuff, good times.
I think, no, there was so much. I watched more than 30 years before joining you guys tonight, and I was struck by how positive the general public were towards the show, and the love the people who made it had for it. So, but at the same time, obviously the show wasn't on. I'll give 1993 a 9.
A 9 out of 10. Thank you. Paul, what about yourself?
Well, I think it was a great year as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it, although the show wasn't on the air with lots of exciting things. And like we mentioned earlier, the colorizations and stuff like that. And then more than 30s in the TARDIS. And we found out about Toya's PVC kink, which was lovely. And then, but to end the year going to Crinkly Bottom via Albert Square, what more can I say? It's a 10 from me. There we are. Yeah.
1993 for me is also a 10. What a fantastic year to be a Doctor Who fan, and never repeated, because even though the show returned, as we all know, and it got to celebrate its 50th and 60th, they didn't even touch 1993 or even 1983. Such a shame. And if you weren't there, tough, because it was brilliant, though. It was absolutely fantastic. So a 10 for me. Steve Andrews is also giving it a 10. Lex Kane is giving 1993 a 9. 30 out of 10 for 1993 for Funky. Stephen O'Neill for 93, 10 out of 10. Same from Richard Brooks, 10 out of 10. Jess is saying 10 out of 10. Bad or indifferent, it remained an awesome era. Farsight, I'd give 1993 a 9. It would have been a 10 if Doctor Who had still been on the television. John Mason is giving it an 8. John the Computer Doctor is giving it a 10 out of 10. Julianne is saying 9 out of 10. It would have been a 10, but for the loss of Jackie Hill. PVFS says, I was in my mid-teens by then. All right, lady, all right. Steve Braddock is saying 10 out of 10, 30 years, all those wonderful Pertwee videos, all the conventions I went to, all the stars I met no longer with us. And back then, the show was loved by all the fans and the public. Exactly. And we were bloody lucky. That Panopticon, getting to meet everybody there, and that was the start of for me, the real conventions, but the family thing came through. And I know that's a cliche to say, but it was, because the actors weren't acting in Doctor Who at the time. and they were interacting more with the fans. Do you know, they were coming to breakfast and lunches and dinners, and it was different because there was no stardom about it. They were just having fun with the rest of us, and they just happened to go on a stage, you know. And that Panopticon that year, with all the people that were, I think practically everybody was there that could be there, you know. Farsight, 9 out of 10. It would have been, yes, we got that one. Thank you, mate. Paul Schlefter saying, I was 13 in 93 and have so many happy memories of Doctor Who from that year. And being a fan, getting the videos, the cassettes, the magazine, the repeats, it's definitely a 10 out of 10. PVFS, 10. Hartnell's Ghost, 9 out of 10. Dropped a point because I couldn't get the 3D glasses. Every newsagent had sold out. Showing you, back then, they all wanted to see this. We're going to be talking about it, as I say, more on Monday. Farsight is giving it 9 out of 10. And Miles D, I'd have to give it more than 10 out of 10 if I could. It was such an excellent year and the start of my Doctor Who addiction. Always good to hear. 93, guys. And Miles is getting into it. We've got Rodney giving it a 10. Thank you, Rodney. And Martin Duff. Nice to see you, mate. 10 out of 10. Ezra Goldstein. Hello, pal. 10 out of 10. Wow. Gavin Graham. I saw Tom and JNT, Gary Downey, Ian Fraser et al. On that speaking tour. It makes it a 10 out of 10 year for me. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. 93 out of 10 in the US. We were late getting much of it, but it was worth waiting for. Big thumbs up there and a love heart from Jess Corbin. Thank you for that, Jess. What else we got? Oh, lots of fun. Avon is also saying a 10. And Funky is saying those Panopticon dinners cost a fortune. Fortunate the stars all came to the bar afterwards. Yeah. Don't remind me about things like that. Yeah, I know. Ooh, yeah, they were. But they were worth it. They were absolutely worth it. The breakfast was much better because you would just get people like I got in 93. I got Verity Lambert and Caroline Ford joining me for breakfast. And
the rest were all hangover in bed, weren't they? That was the thing. So yeah,
probably. Jason Parker, 93 gets a 10, way better than the 40th when it was announced it was coming back, and we know what a shower of it became. Credit to JNT, he moved heaven and earth to make things happen. Bless him. I had fun at the 40th anniversary one as well, to be honest. That's another thing, another show. But yeah, thank you for that, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed that. That was our walk down 1993, part 1, because it was such a big year. Part 2 will be with you on Monday, as we say, 8 o'clock. So that's on the way. Third Doctor Ian, Paul, Digby, thank you for joining me for our Wilderness Years show tonight. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it's brought back some lovely memories.
It has, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And on to the Nightmare next. We will see you. Kidding them, Paul. I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
No.
It's so not. No.
Our next scheduled show will be Headlines, of course, your big show live here on the channel on Sunday at 8 o'clock. And then our bank holiday special, our review of Dimensions in Time. Get your 3D glasses ready. From Third Doctor Ian, from Digby, from Paul, myself. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a hype. Leave us a comment. Thank you for being with us. We will see you again very soon. Ta-ra, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye. See you in Crinkly Bottom.
Ooh.
Happy